Oh my gosh.
Ooh, yeah.
And
They're
then,
gonna be, yeah, they're
and then
front
we
and
should
center.
say,
You can see them
I
on the
don't know,
stream.
people that leave reviews give gifts to.
I know. Yeah, it's true. Hey, if you guys want to give us some gifts, you can.
I'm
Danny
just
has
kidding.
some. Harry Potter slippers? Would you just call them Harry Potter slippers?
Yeah.
I guess
I
so.
think so.
They
I'm
say
wondering-
Happy Christmas on the
Oh,
bottom.
no
I just
way.
realized
So
that.
they're like pretty specific in a way.
Oh my goodness.
But I
incredible.
imagine the same slippers exist that say different things on the bottom. Maybe.
Yeah. Expelliarmus, Happy Christmas.
Yeah.
Nagini.
Avada.
How dare
Oh
you?
boy. You just like
About
lift
Jen's
your feet
killing
up if
people
you want
with
to.
it.
Because I was trying to say, for it to come to me, what the
Accio.
summoning Accio, and I was it came to me Avada Kedavra, and I was like, and he's, how dare you?
You're just going around cursing people thinking you're
But
doing
it was
good
like
things.
without dropping a beat.
You should just wear those into people you don't like.
Yeah.
I love how this is becoming like deeply part of your guys' identity now. You're like thinking
Yeah.
of spells to do, everything.
It comes up more than I would like to admit.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone watching the stream? For those who haven't seen, Danny is wearing some nice Harry Potter slippers. We just talked about that.
Oh yeah.
And
We-
his jumper.
Yeah, and his jumper, which I was gonna wear
He's
tonight,
decked
but
out.
I was in a rush to get here. So, but I'll wear it next time. And we have someone asked, have we watched the movies already? Yes, we have watched the movie.
Well, you three watched the movie.
Yeah, Kristen fell asleep
This
during the movie, but
Sorry.
she's seen it so
Yeah,
many
you've
times. that
seen
It
doesn't
was
matter.
a
that
long
much.
work week.
Yeah,
I'm proud you powered through it.
yeah.
Thanks. I
agreed.
shot up.
Yep.
It's like
She
half of the
did.
battle.
I was there
but
physically.
you fell asleep in like literally the first 5 minutes in the movie. I looked over and you're like, out.
It was a comfy couch.
Nice.
Oh
right
my
out.
gosh.
He did have a nice little setup
Yeah.
next to the Christmas
So I took.
tree.
Yeah. So I took the corner.
Nice.
For anybody watching on chat, if you guys have any questions or had any comments about the movie or anything that we talk about, just throw it in the chat, and then I'll get to it, and we'll talk about it. But how did you guys like the movie?
I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was surprised when you said that initially. 'Cause when we
Um,
finished it, you were like, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, honestly, I think maybe because I adjusted my mentality a little bit, and maybe it's a natural part of my personality. If I feel like the general group vibes are being too extreme, I might
yeah,
pick
you
the
got-
opposite extreme just for the sake of a happy medium balance as I whack my face with this mic. And so...
A balance for who though?
No,
Like,
but
what's
just
this
in general, I
balance?
feel like I thought there was maybe going to be more that I didn't like about the movie. There were things I didn't like, sure. But in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm putting myself in the position of the director and just imagining trying to do this book justice when he thought he was going to have 2 movies,
Yep.
right? And then they tell him he has to do 1. This is more than 1 movie's worth of content. So you have to take things out.
Yeah.
And I think for the length of movie, it was pretty legit. It was very entertaining. And I can see why people who haven't read the books would really enjoy this movie.
Yes.
But having read the books, it feels like there's not enough there. There were parts that just felt empty or strange, or I'm not so sure why they changed them,
Yeah.
of course. But knowing how much you guys don't like it, it seems, I'll play the role of lover.
Well, I liked it because I was
Oh,
the one
nice.
that didn't read the book
Oh, and so you...
because I knew the movies first.
Yeah.
So I liked it. But it's funny because thinking back, there are little spots in these like next movies that I don't get fully
Yeah.
because I don't really remember the books. But I'm trying to, I don't know like what to explain.
yeah.
But obviously there's just more details.
Yeah.
So you're getting that and it's totally different. Like when I read through this the first time, I didn't connect that like it was that different, I guess.
Right. I think the other part that's strange is we're getting into a weird territory of now the movie has to do certain things and they've taken a stance on some things.
Yeah.
And then because of the stance they're taking, it informs the way we're going to read the next few.
Yes.
books.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't even that sure the whole dynamic between Voldemort and Tom Riddle and whatever from chapter 1. But then in the movie, they show the grave of Tom Riddle,
Yeah.
Voldemort's dad, with the date on it of 1943. And then, like, that just kind of confirms some of the stuff that I'm like, oh, I actually wasn't that sure about the timing of that. But now we do know that happened after Voldemort at Hogwarts, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just...
That's only you because you pay attention to
No,
details.
I'm just
like,
saying, like,
that
but-
didn't-
Those details are not.
But some
being
of the other
registered
things
here.
that they decide to do or not do in the movies, then we might have, it's giving us more information as we go into the next book, and we'll be able to say, oh, okay, well, they didn't even introduce that character in the movie, so maybe it's not going to be a big deal. Or maybe the movie made a weird choice and they're leaving out major characters. I don't know.
I do think too that the sins of previous movies continue to play on each other. Like you were kind of saying that, but the third movie lacked a few things. So the fourth movie, fifth movie, sixth and seventh and eighth, they can't quite go back and revisit a lot of those things.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think there's a few things in particular in this one that they just cannot like go back and revisit. I think I talk about this all the time, but the character development of Neville in the books is one of my favorites, especially in this book. We learn about his backstory, and we don't get anything in this movie about the backstory of Neville, really. And
You're right.
that drives me crazy.
You're right.
Not even like the court case.
Yeah,
right?
we don't get the court case. We just get that, like, that he was disturbed a bit by the curse.
And there was
Oh,
like a
yeah.
twinkle in Moody's eye about that, right?
Yeah.
Like enough that it was like a nod to people who were reading the books. But if you didn't read the books, you wouldn't have picked up on it,
Yeah.
which is okay. But poor Neville, he's getting
Well-
left out.
I found it funny because I was just talking to my brother who's only seen the movies and my sister's fiance who's only seen the movies and my sister who's only seen the movies. They're obsessed with the movie, especially my sister and her fiance. And they love it so much that they want to keep going back to Harry Potter World, like anything whenever it's on, they're watching. I'm like, did you guys know? Because I had just like finished it and I was like, you know that scene at the end, the maze? I was like, did you like it? They're like, yeah, it's so great. I'm like, yeah, you know how much they're missing in it?
Yeah.
If you were actually to like read the book,
Jen
you
is that
would-
person now.
You are that person.
I am that
Oh, my
person.
goodness.
But it was just
So
so
great.
funny because they're sitting there and like they're staring at me like, wait, what? Like
Yeah.
there's more to this? And I was like, yeah. And if you really like that, I'm telling you, like. And then I was talking about Padfoot and Wormtail, and they're like, wait, who's Padfoot? I'm like, see, you don't even know the other name.
Goodness.
It was
Wow.
so funny.
Slowly-
Brandon was like,
slowly
wait, what?
converting
And I'm
people
like,
to read these books.
you should just listen to it, the audiobook.
Yeah.
Jen is converting people for season 2 right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's like
Maybe.
my cousin. He's flying through the books right now.
Really?
Oh, that's right. You were saying
He
that.
might be on book 3 already. I don't know. He was on book 2 and he texted
Great.
me the
He'll
other
God.
day.
beat us.
He was like,
before
they
we
left
even-
so much out.
I know.
I was like, yeah, they really did.
But like I had just finished it and I was just like, do you guys remember this? Like, yeah, that's my favorite movie.
I just made a lot of noise on Mike. Sorry.
But
I see why it's people's favorite movie.
it's
and-
too hard for me to like separate the two.
Yeah, I think
just-
I would just actively trying to separate the two, like almost trying to forget a little bit, because the problem is in previous books I have 160 notes that I took about little details that are different from the book, but I guess I had to settle on not every difference is a bad thing. Some of them are even good things. So when I was watching this movie, I kind of went in with like a different mentality of trying to see the difference and then think, is it good or bad? And if it's a decent difference, I wouldn't even really note it. I'd just be like, oh, okay, cool. They changed something. That's fine. But then
I
you
don't-
made a lot of comments that I was just jotting down too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you were like, write this down, someone. You kept like saying that out. You're like, I'm not taking notes, but write this down. John.
really?
Like, we're like the little scribes
happening?
over here.
Yeah.
I'm taking
Yeah,
notes
pretty
on
much.
Jen.
John and Danny were my scribes.
Jen, did you actually like the movie though?
I guess it was entertaining. I just am a very detail-oriented person. So when you already gave me the details from reading the book, I can't like take them out and like enjoy things because I feel like I'm missing parts of the story and that bothers me. So for me to say like I enjoyed it, missing parts, that are huge parts of it.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. But it was also so fast paced, which I know it had to be because it's a huge book. I would have loved to see what he did with 2 movies then.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Or a whole TV series.
Ugh, I know.
How great would that be,
That would
right?
be so great.
Perfect.
They really need to do that.
Do
People,
you think they'll do it? How can they do it though? They can't use the same actors.
now they can't use the same actors, but they don't need to. They could. There's
But
a
they're
whole
like,
different crop of actors they could pick. They
Yep.
would have to do. I mean, that it would be tough because the child actors. It would be like. It would kind of be like Stranger Things, I guess. You just like have the same kid actors for their childhood, and that's what it would do.
kinda
It would be a long series, but I feel like they can knock that out of the park with that. Oh my gosh, a few chapters per episode would be so good.
That would be so awesome.
That would be really cool.
And that's why there's so much information in this book. They leave out so much that's like, it's hard. You know that, okay, like he had a lot on his plate with putting this book into one movie. But just the sheer amount that they left out, like I would have been fine with a 3.5 hour movie, a 4 hour movie. Just put more
Yep.
in there, you know?
Yep.
Like give us more
I
from
think
what is
everyone would have
actually
been
in the
fine
books.
with that.
Yeah.
I know. The actors probably not so much.
My Wes is going wild right now looking for
But
this
some
ball.
of the lines he didn't even keep. Like they were great lines. Like
Yes.
just keep them.
There's parts of this movie at the end that they should have just literally taken the script from the book and put it on the movie. Like they missed so
why?
much of it.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that drives me crazy is
You're
the
right.
scenes where they literally could have just remade the books. They didn't, and they went with different lines.
Yep.
Like the very, very ending of this movie is maybe my least favorite part of any of the Harry Potter movies,
Whoa,
just
yeah.
period.
Hmm.
Because Harry's like so stupid in the end. And their little conversation at the end where Hermione's like
I don't
crying, she's like,
remember.
everything's going to change now, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And
that
Harry's
was
like,
so weird.
Yeah. And like that's how the movie ends. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to write to you. I'm like, no, this is such garbage. They're not that much like of idiots that they would say these things.
And Dumbledore is literally the worst. I didn't really believe you. I thought you were just being very cynical about him until
People are goading us in chat right now saying go off on Gambon because that's his name, Alexander Gambon.
Oh,
is.
I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. They're goading us for what? I don't know what that phrase
Oh.
means. Do you?
Goading?
they
To
want us-
goad?
Oh, I
To
thought
like
you,
egg on.
Egg on,
Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't say goat. Sorry.
I heard goat,
It's
and
a
I
goad.
was like, I
Sorry,
don't know
my
what
bad, my bad.
goating is.
Mm.
And I guess I've never heard the other word either. So there we go.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about him a lot because he is brutal, I think, in this movie. I feel like this might be his worst one. Especially the line that I told you guys to remember in the books. Did you put your name in the
Oh,
goblet?
yeah.
He
He
asked
said
Harry
calmly.
Harry, did you put your name into the goblet of fire? He's strangling him. I'm like, dude, what the heck is going on?
Maybe he needs a lesson on what calmly means.
Yeah, seriously.
He definitely didn't read the book.
No.
Yep. Which is sad.
Hmm.
Anyway, we'll talk about this in a second, but welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny?
And Kristen.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. We got a lot of people buzzing in chat too, so I'm trying to catch up. This is so much fun for me, though.
Really couldn't tell.
I get so excited with this. I can't wait till we have like 100 people here and everyone's just chiming on a chat, like railing on
Oh
Gambon's
my
performance for how bad
gosh.
it is. I feel like Danny's gonna play devil's advocate a little bit with Gambon.
Well, at some point I would
You
have
got
to, you know, even if it's for
No,
a
you
small
don't.
minority, you know. Gambone's nieces and nephews are listening to the pod. Don't make fun of Uncle Alex. Don't worry, I'll stand up for him.
But here's the issue. We're gonna get into this right now. Is he did not read the books, and I remember. I think I said this a while ago. Alan Rickman, he was playing the part. He was cast to play the part of Severus Snape, and he didn't want to do it because he had already played a few roles that were similar to that. And his grandkids, like, called him immediately when they heard, and they're like, "You need to do this. Go read all the books right now." So he read all the books in like a few days,
Oh,
a few
wow.
weeks.
Oh my
Read all of them
goodness.
because I think they or no, he didn't read all of them because it was early on. But like J.K. Rowling had a conversation with him about like everything that was going to happen, and like he became like an avid reader of these books and knew everything that was going on, and then he played the part perfectly. And Dumbledore did not. And it was brutal how poorly he plays Dumbledore. It is.
I'm surprised he didn't tell him, like, hey, that's not how Dumbledore would
I know.
Like, why didn't anyone?
I don't know. That drives me crazy. I
Chime
guess
in.
Was she there, J.K. Rowling?
I don't know if she was there like every day, but she definitely had a hand in some of the stuff.
Or Rowling? How do you say her name?
Rowling, right?
Rolling
It
like
is
bowling.
Rowling, right?
I think it's rolling like bowling.
I
Yeah.
thought we.
I always say Rowling just because it's a habit.
Yeah.
And I think it just rolls off the tongue.
I thought it. I've always. Never mind. Ask the chat.
I don't know if people are that picky about it, but
Yeah, rolling or bowling, everybody. Wait. Rolling or rowling.
I'm
going
rolling
crazy.
Bowling. I was like, I mean, we can fully change her name if we want to, I guess.
I'm going crazy right now. Okay.
Jen is gone.
All right, let's pick this movie apart. Let's start from just the beginning and then go through it because that's kind of how it is in my notes. How do you like the first kind of few scenes in this? How do you like how they started? All that kind of stuff. So they started in the
skipped so
graveyard.
much.
I know, yeah.
I kind of like the graveyard start. Slow shot, eerie tone. I thought that was good. I'm forgetting exactly what happened, but I remember a lot of it felt like a whirlwind, which has happened every start so far,
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh my goodness, movie pacing. I forgot. Like, Harry started at the Weasleys already. So we got no Dursley time, nothing else. It was just like, Harry's already there, skipped a whole thing, and I can't remember if we knew it was a dream already or if it went straight from graveyard into the Frank, Voldemort, whatever, all that.
I think it went
but it-
straight. I don't know.
Straight
I
into
knew
it from the
was a
graveyard. Nagini
dream.
was slithering, and then
Yeah, and then Crouch Jr. was there.
yeah, which was weird.
Yeah.
Um,
That I really didn't like. There
well,
was
just because there was no mystery,
at all.
right?
Literally, our chat just said that. They hate that part, and you guys are railing on that because it's such a stupid part.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is like a larger part of this movie. One of the things that bothers me the most about it is they take out all the mystery. We were watching with
Yes.
two of our other friends, and they're like, "Oh, there's still mystery in it," but I'm like, I don't think there's any mystery. In
Yeah,
this.
what mystery?
Yeah.
Right.
But unless you didn't read the books, maybe there is.
Yeah, if you didn't
I
read the
don't-
books, I guess there's a little bit. But if you're a good like movie watcher, the first thing you see is him doing this stupid little lizard tongue thing, and then you see him do that in the court case, and you're like, oh, this is Moody's really,
I'm like, why?
They
do
definitely
that?
set it up for you to be able to figure it out.
yeah, for
Hmm.
sure.
Well, it's a
The book
kid's
is like a hardcore
movie,
mystery
I
where
guess.
You're right.
You just don't
Yeah.
know because it was purposely set up
Yes.
to not know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But the movie didn't give you the fun of not knowing,
Exactly.
It's just like setting it up, which it's cool in its own way, I guess.
How?
But because you're just passive, you're just absorbing what they're giving you. You're not as engaged. The book, you're engaged and that's what I find fun. But some people, like a more simple movie watch, you can just sit and absorb the story. But not being engaged, in my mind, is a negative thing. But I could see why someone would say, let's just set it up for them. Let's just do it. Let's, get rid of Bagman altogether. Let's just keep it simple.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then the
makes
suspense is
sense.
really just about what's going to happen, not who is doing it.
I have a slight rewrite of this movie that I think would make it good, but still mysterious, but like would give the readers a little bit of a hint. In the beginning, when the Harry Potter scene is going off, like they have the Harry Potter logo in the clouds, and that's how they kind of start every movie. Cut the music there. Don't play any music, and literally just have Barty Crouch Jr. You don't know it's Barty Crouch Jr., but you just hear someone screaming, "Father! No! Father! No!" Like really softly. So in your head, you're going, what the heck is going on? And then it goes immediately to the graveyard scene. And they don't have Barty Crouch Jr. there. Something tiny. And you keep it a mystery the whole rest of the time. So there's a father relationship going on.
Yeah.
In your head, you think, oh, maybe this is like Tom Riddle and his father. But that's the primary thought going on in your mind rather than Barty Crouch and his son.
Right.
Yep,
Well, it was so
you're
direct.
right.
That's indirect.
Yes.
That's more fun
Yeah.
to try to figure out because
To
it's like,
me,
ooh,
yeah.
who is it going to be? It's
And-
not, here it is on a silver platter.
Yeah, let me let this character stick out his tongue and not do
Right.
anything else more subtle than like this little
It was so weird.
lizard thing.
It's very weird.
I did like.
But
Go ahead.
maybe it's because it's a kids movie. What are they gearing it towards? Like what age? Because
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that would make more sense.
Right.
Well, it's a
Even
kid's
though I
book, and the
wouldn't
book
like
did it.
it.
You know, like I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
it
we're
was
transitioning
before.
out of kid into
12, 13.
teenage, right?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, when did they
Yeah.
start? 11? 12,
They're 13 now.
14?
Yeah, I feel like this. I mean, it's still like a kid's book per se, but I feel like this is where it doesn't transition into a kid's book anymore. And I think the third movie did that well, where it was like, this is the end of their adolescence.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
Tone
movies
shift.
got a little more serious. I think
Yeah.
this movie could have gone into that even deeper, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it did. Which I mean, it's flirting like a weird line, but
Hmm.
I think they should have.
Hmm.
I don't know. Oh
Yeah,
man.
that was annoying.
Yeah, the idea of Barty Crouch Jr. being there with Voldemort and Wormtail, that
Yeah,
was
like,
that was
why?
brutal. I know. Yeah.
I guess you don't really know what that scene is though,
No, I never thought anything of it until.
Hmm.
because you
Like,
don't
now.
really know who
Yeah.
that is. I guess so. Maybe that makes sense then.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you
you're
don't
not really sure.
really know Moody's doing polyjuice stuff. That doesn't come up till later anyway. So there is still weirdness, but it's so subtle, the Moody thing, that it comes as a surprise later. But I like more of the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's the joy of this book, is that you don't know what the heck is going on. In the previous books, you're trying to figure it out, and this one you're given the things, but you have no idea what it is. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody would be able to truly figure this book out, to be honest.
No way.
And that's the fun part, is that when
Yeah.
you're at the end, you're like, I couldn't have figured this out, and it's incredible when the reveal happens.
We did the closest we could.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, you guys literally are the closest predictions that we could. So I actually think they did the graveyard scene well. I like how it started, but they just, like, a few things in it just were terrible. Like, don't put Barty Crouch Jr. in. Don't have Wormtail be so boisterous and, like, happy. That's another thing that bothers me in these movies, is that he doesn't seem to play Wormtail like how
Oh,
Wormtail
yeah, you're
actually
right.
is.
Especially the scene when Harry's there too.
Yeah, seriously.
That was so weird.
The end scene, Wormtail is like, I think you said he like cut off his hand, and like the next scene he's like just taking his blood, and like no part of his
Nothing.
hand
He
is
wasn't
like.
even screaming,
I
crying,
know.
nothing.
No big deal.
I know.
Oof.
It's like, did you do anything? I don't see anything.
Yeah, people are saying too. Sorry, Jen. Some people are saying they actually gave the role to Ian McKellen, but he turned it down.
I don't know.
Wow. He plays Gandalf in Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings.
Oh.
And
Should be-
Magneto
Oh.
in X-Men.
Yeah,
Huh.
he would have
He's
been
good.
great as a Dumbledore. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been so much
Yeah.
better.
What were you saying?
I don't remember.
I always
Oh,
do it too,
yeah,
sorry.
you always just to me. Danny gets a free pass every time. I'm not bitter or anything.
I'm gonna cut Danny off next one.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, the Quidditch match too is when you see who threw up the
Yeah,
Death Eater symbol.
Yeah.
What the heck is that called?
The Dark
the
Mark.
dark mark. I
Dark
know.
mark. And then it's no mystery. Nope. I'm gonna go off.
I know.
It's just annoying.
When he cast it, you're
You
like,
didn't
oh,
need to
this guy
see
cast
that.
it. There's no reason that we needed to
You're
see it.
right.
And
I
in the
forgot about that
movie,
too.
Just
in the
popped
movie,
up.
Harry goes, I couldn't see his face though. But
Which
every
is a
single
lie.
viewer could see his face. Yeah, he was like walking toward him. I guess because in the movie, like, we could see his face, but Harry couldn't see his face.
No, I thought he was lying.
Maybe he was.
I thought he was
Maybe, yeah.
trying to figure out on his own, like
Because
he
that's
always
something Harry
does.
would do. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great point.
And I like, I couldn't see him. I want to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, I feel like the way that it's done in the books, it feels more like a real world. And then the movie just goes so fast, it felt more like cartoonish almost. Even the simple things with the port key and the way they all gathered, it just felt so basic. Something about it didn't feel like gritty and real. They weren't like looking for it or like running late, or it just kind of felt more childish in the movie, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And so fast. And we didn't get any of the World Cup, the Crumb stuff. Who said it that Crumb was hot? And it was like, I think it was probably Jen. Maybe it was Melissa.
Definitely, yeah.
Melissa definitely said it too.
I thought Voldemort was coming.
He is.
But I
With
feel
his
like he's kind of
non-nose.
supposed to be. But Crumb is definitely not
Jen,
supposed
are you
to be.
attracted to
Yes.
like snake-like faces?
Oh yeah, because you weren't really there.
Not really.
So I said
I'm
that.
actually trying to remember the movie because it's been a hot
I was
minute
like,
since
wow,
I've seen this
he
one.
looks like
Mhm.
he's a good-looking Voldemort.
Yeah. When he comes out of like the little like thing and the robe just automatically goes around him. He is who plays him? Why can't it Ray Fiennes?
Yeah.
I need to Google him.
He's a
Wait,
good
did I
looking
wake up for
guy.
that point?
I
He's a
don't know.
British
I feel
dude.
like
He's
I
very
did
good
remember
looking.
waking
Wait,
up
what's
to
it again?
something random. That might have been it.
It's Ralph.
Oh, I thought you said Ray.
It is Ray though.
It
I
just
think it's
sounds
pronounced Ray,
Ralph.
or it's like
in
a
a funny
shortened
way.
version of his
Ralph.
name.
Ralph.
I think it's Ralph. Like it's
I know.
not-
Sorry, I'm making
Guys,
fun of you.
But
'cause
I
it
just
sounds-
like I have no
Hating on
idea.
me right
I
now.
When I
have
read
to.
these things, I'm just like I have no idea,
It
and I'm
just
like
sounds like Ralph,
Right.
but Ralph.
Ralph Fiennes.
Wait, what's his name?
It's
the last
RAFIENNES, I think.
Is it
Or-
RAELPH? What am I saying? I
Something
don't know.
like that. I don't know.
Because
I
I
don't
always
know
thought
how
it
to
was
spell
Ralph.
I think it's spelled Ralph, but I think it's pronounced Ralph, and I think he goes by Ray. I don't know.
one,
It's
dude.
so confusing.
I
Wow.
missed the spelling, but that's okay. I'll look it up.
Wait, Harry was knocked out for the whole Death Eater scene in the World Cup, and that just felt like weird. He
Yeah.
just missed everything, just like, and we'll just knock out Harry for this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I just wondered why. Like, what's the point? Because otherwise he would have fought
It's
back or something.
him?
Just felt
Honestly,
weird.
I feel like they did. I don't actually mind that so much because they cut out significant portions.
Yeah, they cut out Winky. They cut
Yeah.
out all this other stuff.
his
I'm just like,
discussion with Draco. His like,
shit.
yeah,
Awful.
yeah.
I think they give it a little short in time. They're like,
Made
we
in
just need to like
Manhattan.
Let's just knock him out and get it done.
Red Dragon, right? Sorry.
Wait, what's he in?
Who's the hot actor?
Yes, Red Dragon. He's the.
I don't
I
even know
hated
what
Made
that
in
is.
Manhattan because I
Made
saw
in
Red Dragon
Manhattan.
first and hated that.
Oh,
obviously.
Made in Manhattan. He's the main actor, parallel to J-Lo. And then he's in Schindler's List, which I also. I'm
Wait, how
like-
do you spell his first name?
It's Ralph, and
Oh, okay.
then it's FIENNES.
Okay.
So it's not.
Ralph.
Guys.
You're in your chat world.
Yeah, you're talking to other people.
I know, but I guess I'll hear you say Ralph.
Real?
Someone bag me up on chat here. Come on, you guys got to be my backup right now.
my
Is it
gosh.
Ralph?
It's
Ralph?
so funny though because I'm like, I looked at his face and I'm like, that's Voldemort, and then I'm like, oh, I see it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You
you
just
can
take away
see
his
it,
nose.
right? Yep.
Take away the nose.
Yeah, he's a good-looking
Oh
guy.
yeah.
I think he was phenomenal. I think they cast him perfectly. I think they cast a few people perfectly in these movies. Trelawney they cast perfectly.
Yeah, that was
Um,
good.
I think Ralph Fiennes. Voldemort was perfect in these movies. I wish I gave him other lines, but I think the graveyard scene at the end was actually fantastic. To the point where like in the books, I mean it's always better in the books. In the books you get the chills. You're like, "Oh my goodness, this dude is like." I particularly like the one scene where he just tells Wormtail to robe him.
Oh yeah.
rather than like the robe forming around him, but I still like that idea. Just how he comes up, it's
His
incredible.
presence is pretty great. Like
And yeah.
that. Yeah.
And that's something
was
you
too
really have to get
short,
right.
though.
And they got it. He's too short?
No, I meant like the scene was
Yeah.
too short. It should have been longer. And whatever. It was
Yes.
Yeah.
decent.
Every scene in the movie should have been so
Yeah.
much longer.
Do you guys
I'm talking about that scene in particular.
True.
do you like how they just cut out the Quidditch World Cup, how they didn't have the game?
No, and I don't like Quidditch
Yeah. You
I
guys
said
are
that in the
slowly
movie.
becoming converts, yeah.
when we were watching.
It's impressive.
Because it would have been nice just to have a little bit. Like them playing for like a couple minutes and then Crumb catching the snitch with the score being all like, I don't know. They could have done a few things.
Because they skipped right to that. They go from the graveyard scene, and in the books, when the tongue toffee thing happens, Danny
Yep.
goes, I can't wait till to see how they do that in the book or in the movies. And they just skip that completely.
And now I'm gonna be thinking that, and the whole rest of the
Oh.
reading, I'm like, I'm not gonna get excited for any of these things
Yeah,
in the movies
because
because they're
then
gonna
I
cut
was
it all.
also excited to see what Vilas look like.
I know. We don't get to see them.
We don't even know what that is.
I
It
know.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't even at all a factor in the movies.
Nope.
But I don't mind things like skipping the World Cup because you know it's still happening. I'd rather have them skip things than change things, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
So like it's kind of happening, sure. Or even with Moody and his conversation with Neville, I can at least dream that there's a deleted scene of that like eventually I will watch.
Yeah.
But it's the changing I think bothers me more. So yeah, World Cup didn't really bother me. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, you
agreed.
could cut it. It's fine.
I feel like, I think you nailed that. I think they can't change things. If they just cut things, I'm okay with that. But the idea of changing things, I do like.
Yeah, but cutting certain things out is huge.
Yeah,
Yes.
agreed. Like
Mhm.
cutting a lot of stuff out in the maze. The maze,
think-
that scene drives me crazy. Again, Gambon, he gathers them all in like a little huddle.
Oh
and
yeah,
he
that
goes,
was stupid.
the maze changes people. And it doesn't change people. It doesn't change anybody. I mean, Cedric comes out dead, but like nothing happ's in
Oh
the
my
maze.
gosh, John, way to glaze over that.
We're gonna talk about that a lot. But there's certain changes that they
Edward.
make in the movies that I actually don't mind. Like I don't mind that the Quidditch World Cup was a surprise for all the kids. I kind of like that idea. I feel like that's something the Weasley couple would actually do. They would make it a surprise for all the kids. I like that. I even like it's stupid when they change it and
didn't realize that.
they're all, I know there's a mob going on over there. When Ron wakes up or Hermione wakes Ron up and he's wearing like a little like, you know, t-shirt or something like that and he goes bloody hell and he like covers himself up. I'm like, how do you actually do that in real life?
That's hilarious.
To me, I'm like, why did he do that? That was so funny to me.
He has a crush on her.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, they skipped the Dursley scene. Amos, how do you like Amos in the movies versus the books?
I feel like it happened so fast. I don't know. And already knowing what happened to Cedric, I just felt bad for him right away. So I liked him more in the movies just by default, I think. But I feel like it was such a blur.
Robert Pattinson, you love him.
Well, yeah, Cedric is great.
Cedric,
I'm a fan.
Yeah,
Wait, you said
he did great as Cedric
just-
in these
yep.
movies.
Cedric is gorgeous.
He's gorgeous.
Also, we're getting confirmation on the chat. Not confirmation. It's like a combination.
Ooh, nice.
Rafe, not Ralph.
Rafe.
See, you were
Rafe.
wrong.
Oh, no, that makes a lot of
It's
sense.
spelled like
I've
Ralph,
heard that
but it's
as
Rafe.
a name, but I just never knew how to
So
spell
I was
it.
right making fun of you because you were wrong.
Oh my god.
Did you try to pronounce a name? All right.
No, because I wasn't trying to say it was
Ralph.
Ralph.
Never gonna live this down.
I love how they
Hey,
did
you
it.
carried
They
on the
spelled it
fly
out for
thing
you.
for how many months?
I was doing that for a purpose. For this.
Yeah, this is for my own enjoyment.
It was weird that Percy didn't exist in this movie, just
Yeah.
like Dobby didn't, just like Winky didn't.
Yep, Winky's just
Who's
like
Percy? I
Bagman
forgot.
didn't.
Yeah, who's he exactly? The older brother, the Weasley, not older,
The annoying
but,
older
Oh,
brother.
yeah,
Weasleys.
yeah.
I don't know. And even the Moody thing, he didn't come up until Hogwarts. The whole thing with the bins and like when the Polyjuice began wasn't even a thing. Mr. Weasley never went to help him get out of it. So having Moody just show up at Hogwarts, it felt just a little weird. It felt like so abrupt because I thought we were going to get a better intro.
But it was a decent intro for that, though, right? Like,
Yeah,
they were,
it
like,
was
the
decent.
music and the
For the movie. It was theatrical.
that's the word. Yep.
Dramatic. Yeah, I liked it in its own way. But I wish that there was more to it.
Yeah. We didn't get any of like we don't even like know the older siblings of the Weasleys. Right now is Percy the oldest sibling? Like I think Ron's made
Oh my
mention of his
goodness, I didn't even
brothers.
think that. Yeah, did they even mention it?
I don't think we've met Bill or Charlie yet.
And they cut the whole Norbert scene out,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yep, they cut that out, which we got.
In the other movie.
Oh wait, yeah,
so
we don't
didn't
see
even
him
get
at
to
all.
meet him
The long
there,
hair,
like
the
talk
cool
about him.
vibes.
Because we don't get this little like love development happen at the end with
For your
with-
girlfriend,
yeah, my girl.
Oh, shoot. You better go fight for her.
I know.
you gotta grow out your hair and get a piercing.
Oh, man.
A fang piercing.
Maybe
I'm just
done
gonna
that
be
before.
cool.
Just cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna just
Very synchronized.
You guys
Yeah.
are on
On
the
cue,
same
go.
level.
Dumbledore yelling silence when the students were talking about the age limit again.
Yeah.
Just bugged me because in the books he's so calm. and he does things that gets the silence, but he either says it or does, like, he could do a Sonos thing, he could do something crazy with fireworks, something that takes little effort. But to see him actually put physical effort into getting people to be silent just feels so not Dumbledore.
And also, though, like, he was very whimsical and laughing and joking around with the twins when they, like, grew the beard out because they passed the line. And he was not at all.
He doesn't.
Like that.
I hate that. It's such a good opportunity to show,
it
like,
would have just been like a little smirk and like, oh, that's a great beard you guys got, like something fun.
I know, those are all the opportunities where they can show the fun, whimsical side of Dumbledore, and they don't at all. Instead, they have him choking Harry out. Oh, I cannot get over that scene. It's just terrible. But yeah, I feel like there's a few things that drive me crazy in these movies, and we've even talked about it, like how like the twins saying everything in unison together, that drives me crazy. And then Dumbledore screaming silence, that stuff drives me crazy. It's the smallest little details that I'm like, let's get over that. You all right?
Hell yeah. Lack of sleep.
Oh, nice. I didn't like how they showed Karkaroff by the goblet, like where he's about to go in and then he like closes
What's
the door.
The purpose of that scene?
It's like, I don't know. There's a limit to what you do to deceive the viewer, and that just felt like over the line.
I think it's because they ruined it from the beginning. You know it was Crouch.
I
They
guess
had to
you're
add
right. Like, you
someone
already
else
know that
and,
Crouch is
like,
bad.
Close the doors, so
Yep.
that would make more sense to me.
But you didn't know he was at Hogwarts, I guess, so they want you to think it's Karkaroff. But it was just so on the nose that it felt sloppy. And because we already knew how it ended, I'm just like, why are they doing this? This doesn't make sense. So in the moment, of course, if you don't know what happens, it's a mystery. You're like, oh, what's going on here? I don't like this guy. But knowing the whole story, it just felt like kind of lame, unnecessary. There were a lot of other ways you could build up the suspense or not like Karkaroff. But to show that, why?
Yeah. You're speeding through a lot. Let me read through some of my notes. If you guys have any qualm with or anything to add on.
Don't look
to,
at me for notes.
No. I'm gonna say some of my stuff. If you guys have anything to like add on to anything that I say,
Make sure you say my notes in there.
I will. I have a few things that Jen
Yeah,
said in
nice.
this. One of my favorites was
no.
when Cedric is flying down in the port key. You go, it's like he's training. I think for his vampire thing.
Yeah. He's training.
That was so funny.
You're like, the people making Twilight saw this, and then they thought, he's our vampire guy.
That's our guy.
Yep. Did you see the way he just did that?
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
That was
Now I
so
remember.
funny. I also so even talking about Amos, I think Amos was a good change in this movie because he's very unlikable in the books, but in the movies, I actually think they make him a likable character. And this is one of my, I think my favorite movie scene for Harry Potter of all time is in this movie, and it's the scene where Amos Diggory cries and yells for Cedric.
Sorry, I was actually waiting for that in the book.
Yeah.
While we were reading,
Right?
I was
Whoa,
waiting
yeah.
for that moment,
And it doesn't happen.
and it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and I was
'cause
like,
Harry-
wait,
They have to do that a little bit because almost the entire book is from Harry's perspective, so you don't see the grief of Amos because they drag Harry away before
Right,
that happens.
Hmm.
But I love that we get it in the movies. To
Yeah.
me, I
Right.
think that's actually the most powerful scene in the entire movie franchise when someone is right outside and they are
What the?
struggling with some chairs or something. I think that's the most
Sounds like
powerful
an
scene in the entire
oven.
movie because
See,
what?
no, I thought it was terrible acting on that scene.
Really?
Yeah.
really?
I didn't like it. I thought it was so fake.
Yeah, you said that. I don't know.
I was like, that could have been a lot. My son. Like it wasn't good acting. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point. I feel like someone could have done it better, but I liked even just like how cheesy it might have been, the outcry of grief over something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was a little cheesy, but I thought it was good. Even maybe it was the music, maybe it was something else in there. Maybe it was like the students crying in the side. I don't know. I love that scene. Jen hates it, so we got our first
I don't
disagreement.
hate it. I just thought it was bad acting.
Who do you think is the
Really
best
long.
actor in this movie? Just flat out.
I don't know any
Actually-
actors' names, but
Hold off. We're gonna ask that question at the end because that's an
Ooh,
important
nice.
one. Let's go through some of my other notes. Someone asked when we were watching the movie, how would they know when to let go of the port key, which is a valid point.
Yeah. And
oh,
how did they even?
I was thinking the same.
And there was
Yeah.
no like time thing.
Yeah.
They just like all grabbed it and they're like, "Let's go!" And they
Yeah.
like all squeeze real tight. And
Didn't
I'm
the
like,
dad
"What?"
say that though? What's Arthur?
Well, I don't know if anything was said. I don't think so. But
Oh, I thought he said let go.
He
No.
does.
Oh, like,
He
at
goes,
the
let
end.
go, kids.
yeah, but it just
Let
felt like
go.
the whole thing with the port key just felt kind of different and weird.
But why would you let go? I thought it brings you to where you're supposed to be, and you land
Yeah,
with the
that's
port
what I was
key.
picturing.
Yeah, that's what it should be. You
Yeah,
shouldn't really have
okay.
to let go. It should just bring you to where you are rather than like you're
But
running
then,
along.
because also now that changes the whole
They
end.
had to show
Because-
Cedric training for
Yeah.
his vampire movie, Jen.
That was the foreshadowing for the whole Twilight series.
That's so funny. Yeah, but then that changes the end because the port key of the trophy.
Yep. They could have just let go
They
before
coulda
that, and
just
they would have
let
been in
go.
some random English countryside somewhere. Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh my gosh, it's a port key. Let go.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have landed in the.
Although the port key
Cemetery.
dynamic with the boot does help a little bit because it feels weird in the books where Harry runs back to the cup at the end, grabs it, and as soon as he grabs it, he's back to Hogwarts. And that feels weird in the books because that's not how port keys work. They're based on timing, right? At least that's what it
know.
seemed. Or maybe the return is always by touch. But I don't know.
I
We
know
didn't
there
see it
was a
established, but in the
timing thing.
movie, it does make a little more sense because you're like the people touching the port key seem to be the ones like making it travel, which kind of lines up with Harry using it to get back at the end.
Mm.
It feels inconsistent.
Yeah.
How do these things
I
work?
feel like there's a lot of inconsistencies in these movies because we'll get into it in a bit. I also think the tents are cool. I like when Harry goes in and he goes, I
Oh,
love
yeah.
magic.
Yeah.
I love that scene. That's a cool
Yeah,
little
yeah.
scene.
That was good.
Yeah, the twins saying things at the same times also always drives me crazy. The idea that they had to buy their tickets. What do you think of having to buy their tickets rather than having Jen? What are you laughing at?
Just because I love you're so excited reading your list. And
I
we got
am.
this and we got this. I love it. It's so funny.
What do you think about them having to buy their tickets rather than having a spot in the minister's box?
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. And
Well-
it changes the whole vibe.
Yeah,
like,
They don't have Winky and Jen. I'm interrupting Danny. There you go.
yeah, nice.
They don't have Winky in it, so they don't
Yeah.
have to do it. There's no point for
No
them having
reason
to do
to
it.
be up
There's no
there.
real reason for them to be in the minister's
And
box.
it wasn't done with
Oh,
Harry's
is that
wand.
why?
I guess
He didn't
yeah.
lose his wand,
Yeah,
right?
he didn't. Yeah.
So all of that, like, what's the point? But I think just the dynamic of the Weasleys, like, can the average person go to the World Cup? Well, it just ended, and the next World Cup is going to be in the States. And when I look at ticket prices in theory, I'm like, oh, this is going to be not affordable for the average person at all.
Yeah.
So the Weasleys, it doesn't really make sense. But when you're getting free tickets to
That
be in
makes
the
sense.
box,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Especially because they brought Hermione and Harry
Yeah.
to it as their guests.
So that
Yes,
whole thing, the
I know.
dynamic of being in the box, the
That's
box still felt a little extreme where I was like, really? But at least that seemed to make more sense. But to even do the opposite and have the Malfoys
had
making fun of
nosebleeds.
them,
Yeah.
like, oh, haha, where are you going? I thought we were going to get a really fun moment of like the Malfoys go up to the seats
Yeah,
and then
and they're already
already
there.
there. And we didn't even get that. I was
I
like, come
know.
on. That would have been so funny.
There's so many good opportunities that they have here.
And like, why are they doing the opposite of the book?
I know. That drives me crazy. There were two funny Jen lines in this. Literally right before the Vila didn't show up, Jen goes, or right when the leprechaun showed up, Jen goes, I'm excited. I want to see the Vila. I'm excited for that. And they didn't show up at all. At all.
But they showed the leprechaun.
Yeah, they show the
Then don't
leprechaun, but
show
they don't
either
show
of
the
them.
Vila. I guess I don't know who they're going to pick for these beautiful, fierce women. I don't know. And then you go,
like you
Crumb is
would
way
know.
cuter in the movies than the books, which is another comment. And then Fudge commentated the game because
Oh,
they had
yeah, I
to cut
did see
Bagman completely out.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I have a few more of your quotes in here.
Wait,
so.
what was the Bagman one?
Fudge commentates the game because Bagman is just completely cut out of the
yeah.
movie. Like,
but it would have been neat to see him because he's like a certain fun, jolly character, like the athlete
Yeah.
that turns into this gambler.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would have been cool.
neat.
I wanted Russell Crowe to play him.
ooh, wow.
I don't know why. But maybe because I picture him as Gladiator, but he's not the Gladiator anymore. He's aged a little more, but he's still like a big personality and he's an athlete, or at least he was. So I think it just gave that vibe. I was like, this going to be great. Who's going to play him? Nope. No Bagman for us.
Huh, I'm interested. That's like a funny question. Who would play Bagman? Who would be a good person to play Bagman?
Wait, who'd you say?
I said Russell Crowe.
Oh, and I pictured Gerard Butler when you said that.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, he would be
I
great
was
too.
like,
Yeah,
he
he'd
would
be
actually
totally
be a
good
great.
one.
Yeah.
Isn't he in Gladiator?
Ooh, Stephen
No,
Fry.
he's in 300. He's a Spartan.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, Stephen
Wait,
Fry.
could've been
that?
good.
Yeah, who's
Stephen
Stephen
Fry.
Wait,
Fry?
He's the guy
He
who
reads.
reads the British Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh.
know a face though.
Is he an actor?
He is an actor. I just can't think of what he's
I was
in.
gonna say, why do I know that name?
Yeah,
But
you
it's
know
because
him.
Hold on, let me look.
Yeah, pull him up. There's a few other just like jolly actors I feel like who could play him. But I can't think of any right now. Ooh, Kenneth Branagh. Yeah. You know who that is?
No,
I
I
don't
think
know
so.
any actors' names. So this conversation's gonna be
Kenneth
great.
Branagh was Lockhart.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
he would
actually,
totally work.
yeah.
They're
That
very
would've
similar
been-
I
vibes
know.
to me, honestly.
Yeah, he could have played a few different actors in this series
Yeah.
pretty well, I think. The actor who plays Tom Hardy could have been pretty. That would have been an interesting one.
Wow.
Really?
An
Not the
intense
one,
I don't
like,
know.
I
about
want
that.
him in
He's
Harry
just not
Potter,
that
but I
into
just don't know
the
if Bagman
guy.
would be
Yeah.
the
That's-
character.
I feel like
throw
he's
him
kind of a method
He's
actor,
just
so I
not
feel like
that
he could do
into
that.
you.
Hmm.
Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, nice. Maybe Shia LaBeouf should be an older Weasley with Tom Hardy.
Yeah, for real.
Wait, didn't they both
He's
play brothers
dating
in something
Kate
too?
Bosworth now. Kate.
Which one did he play? Who was he paired up with in that
He
movie?
was Jennifer Goodwin's.
Oh, I can't think of his name with the brown hair.
Yeah.
Long, Justin Long.
Yeah.
Right?
He
Him
could've
for
been-
Bagman?
Yeah.
Him for an older Weasley brother.
Yeah, seriously, a lot of
That
these
would
people could be
actually
Weasley brothers,
work.
too.
If he had red hair.
I can't picture him.
Yeah, I
She was
can't
just
either.
very
That'd be weird.
disgusted by that idea.
Yeah. Someone put this comment. Becky put this comment. I also thought it was weird for the Malfoys to laugh about how high up they sit, and it isn't a positive thing to sit higher up watching a game of flying. Like,
Right.
they should be lucky they're at the
yeah.
top.
True.
Like
Because
that's
it's a game of flying.
better.
It's like perfect. It's like eyesight. All these other people, they're in the front row going, "Oh, this game's real
yeah,
fun."
yeah.
Like they got the best seats in the house right there.
And it's, I mean, Becky's right because the box, the best one, is the tallest one.
yeah, exactly. I know.
Well, that's how I read it though. Like in the book, I'm picturing like the top is the
top
where the
row.
box
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
office.
yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I
Yep.
thought.
Is that how they explained it in the book?
Well, just not in the
Describe
movie
it?
though.
Yeah.
It was implied maybe
Yeah.
in the book,
Mm,
and the movie is saying the opposite.
yeah.
Classic.
People are putting so many good Bagmans here. We got Jason Alexander, the dad in Paddington movies, David Beckham. Which is
David
kinda good.
Beckham.
That would actually be great
my
if they
gosh.
did like an
Yeah.
actual athlete. Like,
I don't know if any of you know.
washed
Do you
her
guys know who Zlatan Ibrahimovic is?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He is the most confident soccer player in the entire world.
That's why I have no idea.
And
who that
he
is.
would,
I'm like,
he
what?
might be, he could
I
be the
don't know.
greatest bagman ever. He would be, that would be so
What was his
good.
name?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's one of my favorite players ever.
You
but
just, like,
he's
say
so
When he
never be
came-
able to say.
He's a soccer player. When he came to the States, he took out a full page ad
Yeah.
in like the LA Times to say "You're welcome."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This is my favorite Zlatan story. When he did that, he came to LA and played for the LA Galaxy. And LeBron James, who was part of LA at the time, sends him a jersey of LeBron James and says, it just says, "Welcome to LA." Zlatan Ibrahimovic signs the jersey and sends it back to LeBron James.
Are you serious?
My
Oh,
favorite story.
great.
He's like that confident and like that. He's like
Wow.
such a funny guy, but he could have been a good bagman right there.
That would be awesome.
Sounds like it.
So yeah, Jen talked in the movie about how the whole Quidditch match was a big disappointment because there's no Quidditch match, which is interesting because you guys really don't like Quidditch that much, but it would have been fun
No.
to see that. As far as a movie is concerned, I think visually they should have. It would have been really tough to make that, but I think they could have done that well.
Yeah, it's
So-
probably a money thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then there's no Winky.
But seeing like a
there's no Bagman.
professional one would have been neat.
I know, exactly. I know.
Mm.
You like
And then
truly
you
see
see
how it's done.
Crumb playing, and then you see his skill set for the
Yes.
future. Like it would have been.
Ooh, that would have been so good because all you see is see him flying, doing like a handstand on his broom. That's it.
I don't even remember that.
He was like celebrating. It was,
And
like,
he didn't
during the
even
warm-ups.
look like gothic.
I know. Yeah.
He looked like an
he
athlete.
apparently looked cute.
Cuter than he was supposed to.
Yeah.
True.
And then after the whole match, there's like, I think one of you guys mentioned this. All the tents. It's like an apocalypse. You're like, what happened there? Like when they were like,
Yeah.
everything looked completely wrecked and ruined. It was nuts. So that was kind of crazy. You literally see Barty Crouch Jr. casting the spell into the sky, which is insane.
Yeah.
There's no speech of Mr. Weasley about the Dark Mark, which to me is one of the biggest sins of this
Didn't
movie.
even explain it, right?
Nope, no explanation
Yep.
of it.
I just realized that.
Yeah, there's like nothing in the movies about that, which kind of drives me crazy. And I think that was one of the most pivotal scenes in the books too, because you realized how suppressed this information is. Like people who are wizards and have been wizards for their whole life, Mr. Weasley doesn't even tell his sons this, and Ron has no idea what this Dark Mark is. I feel like that's such an interesting scene in the books. And in the movies, there's no point to it. Like you cast this Dark Mark into the sky, and I feel like it has no real weight to it. In the books, it does.
And that scene is like chaotic, and they don't even explain. Like in the book, at least, it's like some of the Death Eaters, right? Weren't they like joking around and like drunk?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, this Dark Mark comes about.
Yes.
Instead of it being like chaos, screaming, and a Dark Mark at the end.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then Harry seeing it and not believing, or
Yeah.
he doesn't want to tell anyone, or what am I trying to say? He had his glasses on too, and it was right there. It was like
I know.
Kristen's distance from me.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
could have
see who it
easily
was.
seen that. I know. One second, I'm deleting porn chat from our chat right now.
Ah, nice.
What?
There's bots always that kind of just jump into live streams.
We
and
have
do
fans in many industries.
Oh wow,
Well,
the guys would know.
He's like, why would I know?
that. Jen just throws us under the
Yeah.
bus. That's why I keep
I
interrupting you, Jen.
I thought we're not trying to be sexist in this chat.
So there's a few other things that I love, like Ron's facial expressions in this movie are fantastic, as always. I want to talk about that as we go on, but his facial expressions are incredible. And then Bobaton and Durmstrang get introduced immediately, to which, as soon as that happened, Danny goes, I can't even keep up with this movie. Like, it was happening so fast.
So fast.
Like, from scene to scene, you're like, I have no second to breathe.
Yes. Which maybe that's part of what is fun about a movie if someone hasn't read the books.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to process when we're trying to spot the differences
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. And there's no time to catch your breath. Every time the scene ends, the next one is just plowing through. And then you're like, I think they skipped like 5 things, but I don't even know what. I just got to pay attention. What's happening?
How do you like, so there's 2 questions. How do you like the schools being co-ed? Because there's a lot of opinions in chat right now.
You mean not co-ed?
Yeah, because in the movie it wasn't co-ed, right?
Someone in chat, Katie,
Right.
goes, why are the Bobatons farting butterflies? Which was so true.
What?
They
I
pretty
guess
much
I
do
don't remember
Go,
that.
"Ah." And butterflies, they like literally fart out butterflies. That is so
Great.
funny.
Oh yeah, like their opening scene.
Oh my
I was like,
god.
why are
It
they
seemed
doing it like that?
very absurd.
And
Yeah.
the guy, hoo, ha, hoo, ha.
Yeah. How do you like the entrances? Yeah, that's the other
I
question. How
kind
do
of
you
liked the idea that there were entrances like that, but like watching it, I'm like, it just seemed like comedic and nothing else.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
this
know.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You like the entrances?
No, like it was cool in its own way, but it was just like it just felt so absurd, and that's what
Yeah.
a lot of the movie comes off as.
Yeah.
Entertaining, I guess, but it felt out of place.
Yeah. I feel like for the movies, they have to make some kind of grand entrance, because the books, they just do it perfectly. And the movies, that you have to have some kind of like, this is Bobaton and Durmstrang. But I think they botched that a little bit. And yeah,
You don't
everyone
have
does
to have
not.
an entrance dance. could have just introduced them, and then they like walk in and like they zoom in on people's faces, and
Yeah.
like you have to do that.
I know, and even the idea that they're all male and all
watch
female
Floor
schools. That drives me
Face,
crazy.
and then as she walks away, just zooms in and then out.
I would have loved that.
I know.
Ooh, I'm gonna throw this in chat. Who should have played Floor?
Ooh,
Hmm.
Scarlett Johansson.
I'm not a big Scarlett fan.
She's got a big butt.
I was gonna say, do they have to be voluptuous?
She is.
I didn't picture them voluptuous.
Hmm.
Moving on.
Quickly get away from that.
We were trying to figure out who Floor could be.
He doesn't want to get excited.
Oh my god.
Classic Jen.
What do you think of how the
That's what he
Hogwarts
gets for cutting
people?
me off.
I know, I just get railed. Jen making up theories about my obsession with the butts.
I don't know about making it up.
What do you think about Hogwarts singing their song at the end?
What song? I don't remember that.
So they go Hogwarts, Hogwarts, Hoggy Warty Hog, and they all sing it at different parts.
Oh, don't stop there.
Teach us something, please. Whether we be
I
old
don't
or
remember
gray.
that.
Huh?
Do you know the whole thing?
No.
Don't lie.
It's a safe space.
Wait, I don't remember. So there was a
After my
song
comment.
in the movie?
Yeah, I'm never saying anything again.
So the movie had a song in it?
Yeah,
I just don't remember that at all.
It might have been an extra scene. This might have been the I don't know if we
Yeah, 'cause
watched.
I don't remember that.
It might have been a deleted scene, but the two entrances go in, and then Dumbledore has words like magically up, and they sing the song, and they all sing it at different parts. So like Hufflepuff goes first, and then after the first
Yeah,
line.
actually that did happen.
think
Okay.
they-
Yeah,
I
I
think
might
we
have just
watched
missed
that.
it. I was
I
probably like
forgot.
typing notes up
Yeah.
and not paying attention.
Yeah, it might be a deleted scene, but I think we watched that version.
Hmm.
I feel like that sounds familiar.
When the dancers come in, Jen goes, "What the heck is this?" I also have to say another thing that might be one of my favorite parts of this
Rachel
movie.
McAdams.
Ooh,
For
she could
There you
Floor.
go. Oh, she
Floor.
hit the nail on the head with that one.
Sorry.
because of the greatest movie ever, which is I'm blanking on.
About time.
About
About
Time. Yeah, I can't believe
Yeah,
I
but
blanked
she's
on
in
that
the
one.
Notebook Blonde too.
Yeah, but About Time is just
Okay.
an all-time great movie.
Hmm.
One of my favorite parts in this whole movie is when Filch runs in. So before the people
Yeah.
make
Oh
their
my
entrances,
goodness, that was funny.
Filch makes a run and he like can't even run.
He's like doing like
so
high knees
funny.
and he's like doing some weird run. That
It
was
is
really
so
funny.
good. Oh my gosh. Also, so there's a clear indication in these movies that when Moody is bad from the ceiling. So he, like the whole beginning part of that, I think they kind of botched. Again, because the books, you don't know who the heck this is. Like you get some indication, like you guys made the best possible guess that you could. But in the beginnings, you're like, Moody is good. He's trustworthy. This is someone who Dumbledore trusts. As soon as Moody enters into the scene in the movies, you don't trust him because the ceiling goes and he's drinking from his hip flask. And then Seamus, he goes, "What do you think he's drinking from?" And Harry goes, "I don't know, but I reckon it's not pumpkin juice." Immediately in your head, you're like, "Oh, it's probably Polyjuice Potion or something weird or something like that." So immediately you don't trust them in the movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Although it was good that they did that, I feel like, because they don't talk about that in the book, right?
Yeah.
Like he's drinking from a flask every so often, or I caught him.
Well, they don't talk about him drinking from his flask, but they say he always drinks from his flask.
It did say that.
I
in
was
the
Says
gonna
book?
say there's some mention of something.
Says that
But it was
all
even
the time.
more like it was more subtle.
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed it.
It's because you miss it because it's super subtle. It's not like him explicitly drinking from it. It's like it's just people say a few times in the book. It's known that he only drinks from his hip flask, or like Moody pulls out his hip flask or something like that. He only drinks from that thing. So I don't know.
And I still figured it out, and I didn't even know that he was drinking.
Yeah, I know.
Just kidding.
I like that they introduced earlier a Crumb Hermione thing. They like exchanged a look in the movie, which I thought was better than how abrupt it felt in the books, where you're like, wait, do they even like know each other? Have they ever spoken or whatever?
Yeah.
So I kind of like that there was a bit of a spark between them earlier on. I think it kind of worked.
Yeah.
Lay some groundwork.
Yeah. And people are saying some stuff about even Filch. There was a good comedic elements of him like setting the cannon on fire before the real events were supposed to start. Like he's like getting ready for this champion to line up, and all of a sudden the cannon goes off. I feel like stuff like that was kind of good too. Filch kind of stole some of the movie from me. I loved him in this. Yeah, the silence from Dumbledore. From Dumbledore when the students get mad at his age limit. Jen says there's no kindness in Dumbledore's face whatsoever. He's not whimsical. He just seems grumpy, which I feel like that's exactly how he's played, and it's kind of annoying. And then Danny, to your point, so we're back on we're back on track, people. When Karkaroff shuts the door suspiciously, I just don't understand why that's in there. I feel like it's so stupid to have that scene in there.
Yep. Because it doesn't make sense anyway.
Yeah.
Why was he going near the goblet?
Yeah.
He had no reason to.
Yeah. Because he's still suspicious in the books, but in the books you're like, he's almost, I don't know, not like incompetent in the books, but he just doesn't seem like that, I don't know, maniacal. And in that one scene, I'm like, you're just, I guess because they're trying to make it obvious for other things, they have to throw you off in some way. But I don't know. I just thought that scene was so stupid. There's no point in that. I liked when Moody goes in his lesson. He goes, he explains why he's there, and he goes, "End of story. Goodbye. The end." Any questions? I love that part. I think that's a good line. I think Gleason, the guy who plays him, does that really well. It's not like a typical person that I thought would play Moody, but I thought he actually did well. How do you like the whole lesson that played out? Like, how did you think that looked on film versus in the movies?
The book.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I liked it. I actually thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it too. I thought it was entertaining. And you got a good visual of what each spell was.
Yeah. And he does like funny things. He like throws chalk across the room. Like, I don't know why, but he's like very intense, and I feel like he plays that really well.
I feel like that's a sign of a good scene too, when I forget that I'm comparing it to the books and I'm just in the scene all of a sudden. So by the end of the scene, I hadn't taken any notes on it. I was just like watching it because I felt like it was good.
Yeah. Those
Pulled
are the
me
good
in.
sections of the movies where you kind of forget to take notes and you just keyed into the movie. Yeah, I think the tone of that whole scene was really good. Even how he goes, "Weasley!" and Ron goes, "Yes!" He like turns around and is terrified. It's like my favorite. Ron in the movies is just so good. They skipped a lot of his lines and they didn't give him good lines, so he's kind of an idiot in the movies. But man, even him like fangirling over Cedric and fangirling over Crumb is so good.
Yeah.
Like he's passing and Ron goes, "Hi." He does that like one little thing. It's so funny.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, we talked
He's
about
the best out of all three of them.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the other two are close in the same league as him as far as like how they performed in this movie.
No. He's a natural.
Yeah. How do you guys like their haircuts in this movie? You hated it.
You commented on that.
Yeah, when I
That's
woke
the
up.
only-
It's just like bushy.
Yeah, their hair is
No,
wild
just-
in this
I wanted
movie.
to cut it.
Just brought me back to high school. I was like,
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah,
Oh.
it really was. Yeah,
I feel like maybe, again, because we aged with them in the movies,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this tracks, sophomore
That's
year.
how you
I mean, I guess,
or
but
whatever
just,
it would
like,
be
if I were with our
freshman
mother,
year.
I'd be like, you need a haircut.
It's fair.
Trim
Harry
this
doesn't
mane.
have a
Yep.
mother.
Oh, sorry, Harry.
Oh man, come on, Kristen. Good cut, Jen.
Sorry. Oh boy, I'm gonna stop talking.
There must be a
Hermione
spell
got
for
nice
that, though,
hair,
right?
dude.
For what?
For hair.
I'm surprised like
Cut
the
it, trim it, grow
professors
it.
don't. Like, nope, you're out of your
There's got to be like a
Dress
length
code?
limit.
thank you dress code.
Mm.
And bloop, and cuts your hair.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
Nice spell.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Wait, they do kind of have a dress code, but it's only their outfits are.
Yeah, it's just robes.
robes.
Really.
Nothing else. Yeah,
Yeah.
robes.
No haircut policies that we know of, at least. Definitely not in the movies because their hair is
Oh.
all over the place in this movie.
And it was all of them,
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
not just one.
The twins, it was all of them. Yeah, they all had wild.
You know what I was thinking is that remember the first movie when you pointed out Hermione or Emma Watson having the big teeth
Oh yeah.
and she couldn't handle it? I'm like, oh, they could never like do the scene where she goes, where Malfoy like does a spell and her teeth grow to like her waist or whatever,
Yeah.
and then gets them fixed because her teeth weren't that bad.
Mm, yeah.
And like noticeably like, oh wait, what happened to your teeth? Your smile's
Right.
different.
Yeah, because you had mentioned in the first movie that they have the few scenes where you can see her big old buck teeth.
Yeah.
And then she just had to cut them off because she couldn't like speak during it.
Yeah.
So it would have been funny to see that transition for where she has buck teeth and she doesn't. But how did you like how Ron's jealousy played out in the movies? Like his anger over Harry being picked.
If I remember it, I thought it was portrayed well.
Mm.
Like how a high schooler would react.
Yeah. Again, I feel like
Huffing and
he
puffing.
masters his facial expressions. Like
Mm.
Yeah,
when
that's true.
Dumbledore says Harry Potter and he like yells it. It's really annoying. He's like, he says it with anger too. He's like, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, and that just drives me crazy. I love Ron's facial expression. Like Harry gets up and Ron just looks like a typical high school kid who's
Yeah.
angry that his friend's getting all the.
You know, it was a good scene too. Was when he was talking to Sirius and Ron comes down the stairs. Like his
Yeah.
reaction
Yeah.
there, I thought was really good. Like, okay, I'm just checking in on you.
Yeah.
Why you have to like
Yeah.
jump down my throat?
Yeah. Seriously. I thought
It
he
did
nailed
feel again so short in the movie, like it was 2 minutes of them being mad at each other, and all of a sudden they weren't. In the book, it felt like so much longer. Maybe because we had like a whole podcast worth of processing that before we got to the next chunk of chapters.
Probably.
But yeah, in the movie it just felt really quick.
Oh, well then Hermione is like speaking for Ron, which I'm like, that's not even what happened.
Yeah.
Hermione was actually
Yep.
not getting
You're
involved.
right.
Yes, I know. Yeah, and they, in this sense too, they had to portray Hermione as being like fed up and pissed off at both of them, and she was a little bit in the books, but she was not like to the level that she was in the movies.
Right.
In the
right.
movies, like she snaps at Harry like, "I'm not an owl," like, chill.
I thought that line was good though.
Yeah. There's a few lines that are really good. Like I even Ron's piss off when he's about to go to bed. I really like that line. He packed a lot into that one. But I'm not an owl. I think she did that well. Oh man. Let's have a discussion on Dumbledore for a bit.
Yeah,
No.
nice.
Because this is where he strangles Harry. Goes, did you put your name to the Goblet of Fire with every ounce of hatred in his body? We've kind of talked about him a little bit, but we don't think he's good in these movies. Why do you not think he's good in these movies?
Because he doesn't even know the character he's supposed to play.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure. Doesn't know who the heck he's supposed to play. What is the contrast between book and movie Dumbledore?
I feel like when I'm reading the book, it's like Dumbledore is just like this cozy, like warm feeling, like of being like home and safe. And then when you see him in the movies, it's like, I don't want to be near you. I'm afraid to tell you what's going on. You're going to yell at me. You're stern. Like all these things are opposite.
Yeah, you're
qualities.
right. He doesn't feel as stable, like
Yeah.
emotionally. He's just more all over the place. But in the books, Dumbledore is just so steady, and there's a confidence there. And I think that's why it makes sense when you see the big moments where Dumbledore just asks crazy things to Snape and McGonagall, and it's like, yeah, go get this dog and do this thing and go up to my office, and everyone just like does it because you get a little bit of urgency there. But in the books, he's like panicky all the time. It seems not all the time, but like way more than the book. So in the movies, he just kind of he's always doing something, yelling, being stressed, raising his voice, and it just seems like he doesn't know what's happening or what's gonna happen, and it just doesn't give you the confidence. It's not leadership stuff.
He feels so out of control.
Yeah.
In the movies, like he has no grasp on what's going on at all. In the books, he has a grasp on it. Even if he doesn't know what's going on in the situation, he still has a grasp on the situation. In the movies, he's like out of control. Doesn't know what the heck is going on. Is strangling students. Is screaming at students.
He's the Dumbledore for the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why, like, there was a question in the main Harry Potter Reddit of who would you recast as him a few nights ago, or who do you think played him best? Actually, that was the one. And then a bunch of people started rambling on who they think would be the best person to play him. But Gambon is lambasted as a terrible Dumbledore because he just has no warmth. Like you were saying this stuff in the movie, Jen. Like he has no warmth. He has no like kindness in his eyes. He's
very unapproachable.
Yeah.
I feel like for the students.
Yes.
Because like you were saying, Jen, in the books, it's like the students would want to go to him.
Yeah.
And not so much in the movies.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like
want to.
Lack of reacting is one level of confidence, and the next level of confidence is being so comfortable that you can joke and be playful even when things are seemingly intense, and that's what Dumbledore in the books is always doing.
Yeah.
He still has that twinkle in his eye.
Yeah.
He's still playful. Even when he says serious things, he'll like look back at Harry and have like that almost like a joke or a one-liner or something. And that just totally missed in the movies.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of this line though? Do you guys, first of all, do you like Maggie Smith playing McGonagall? Do you think she's good?
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
I feel like she nails it. She has this one line though, where she goes, "Offer him up as bait." Do you think it? my McGonagall impression needs some work.
No, it's actually spot
Offer him up as bait. Do you think it's a good line, or?
Wait, what was that in reference to again?
Offer him up as bait is what you're saying.
So they're having a discussion when Dumbledore's pulling off his memories and putting them into the pensive, and they're talking about they should let things play out a little bit. Like Snape goes, I think Snape kind of mentions that maybe we should just let things play out and see how they go.
Yeah.
And her McGonagall goes, "What? Offer him up as bait?" And Dumbledore agrees with Snape in this moment. Do you feel like this is not in the books at all? So this is a really interesting line that people kind of dive into. Do you think that offering up as bait is something that they would do?
Yes.
Do you think that's in Dumbledore's character, offering him up as bait?
It kind of seems like it, if I'm honest. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm assuming Dumbledore knew Voldemort was on the back of Quirrell's head, and he already used Harry as bait in that case. And I don't think he knew it was going to get all the way to that. But like, danger does not seem to scare anyone at Hogwarts. So, yeah, risking a student's safety for the greater good seems like the Hogwarts MO. Because maybe the greater good is just the students learning from it, or maybe it's catching Voldemort.
Even if they die.
And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think they want students to die, but they're not playing it safe. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I can't say with confidence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does kind of feel like Dumbledore would be like, "Yeah, all right, let's do it. We've got tools that we can try our best to protect him. Obviously,
he's got an undefeated record against Voldemort, so let's just offer him up
let's
as
risk
bait.
it. It'll be fine." But like, I don't know. Maybe I'm still thinking about like Dumbledore planning a lot of this out with the wand, like the phoenix feather, like all of this stuff. It feels like Dumbledore is saying, "Yeah, let's offer him as bait," because he kind of knows worst comes to worst, and they're actually duking it out with wands. There's gonna be a chance Harry could still survive. Oh, that's rough though. Could he really think that?
I don't know, Danny. You're the one to say.
I think he would offer him as bait.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I feel like McGonagall wouldn't. I mean, McGonagall just saying that line shows that she wouldn't do that. But it's an interesting question to pose. Would Dumbledore do this? I feel like Snape definitely would. Snape is like, this guy's dispensable. Let's get him out.
And if he dies, he dies.
Yep. This is another what?
No, I'm just even thinking, well, this is going on another level, but like Snape, like how he hates Harry so much, yet he's going to risk whatever Dumbledore asks of him to like save, well, I guess it's save the whole world, not just Harry. Never mind.
I'm just gonna read this comment to you guys because this is praise for you guys. Calvin, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You need to find dumber people for this podcast. These folks are too smart.
Thanks, Calvin.
Talking about you.
We'll have our dumb moments for sure.
I already did.
Tons of-
How about this line? This is another great line, but what is this in reference to? And she goes, is that a student?
The ferret.
Yeah, I feel like that was a great scene in the movie.
Yeah, that was good.
I really like that. Where even
That was
like
really good. Yeah.
Crab reaches into Goyle's pants. Like something
Yeah.
bites him and he's like pulls his hand out real quick. Like I thought that whole scene was
That
pretty
was
good.
good. I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I like that the pensieve was brought up earlier though.
Yeah.
Like in that scene, we got to see it ahead of time.
Yep.
I liked that because it, again, like with the romance between Hermione and Crumb, they hinted at it earlier.
Yeah.
I like that the cup itself that Harry would eventually touch and it would be a portkey, they showed it. It was in the Great Hall. Again, just kind of like showing that it was around.
Yeah.
Somebody could mess with this thing.
Yeah. It's like
So a few of those I think were pretty good.
yeah, agreed. And I feel like visually for movies they have to do something like that. They have to do some kind of foreshadowing. Like in the books, there's so much foreshadowing. If she doesn't put like they saw the Goblet of Fire or they saw the Ponza before, that's fine because there's so much other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for the movies, you have to throw some of that stuff in there. I think it's pretty necessary. Excuse me.
I didn't like the way Sirius was talking to Harry in the fire. I feel like he wasn't a very calming presence. He was like causing panic more than helping.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
It didn't feel like it lined up with my view of Sirius. Maybe how it was in the book. I assume that's where I'm forming this opinion. But yeah, he just seemed a little more panicked than I would have liked. I wanted more of like a calming fatherly presence.
Yeah, and I mean, his whole second scene is cut out. He's like not in this movie at
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
Which is like a little crazy, but that scene of him in the cave and then talking to him is like, I feel like one of the most important scenes in the whole book because that's where we get half of our information from.
Yep.
Like they could have even just done a good like flashback to Sirius in prison, seeing like how this person walking across. It could have given us more information on because they cut that whole scene out. Like they cut all of it out.
Maybe they were rushing to hit a deadline.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, they probably were. So, but it's still like they just cut too many good scenes out.
You guys said you liked them cutting out scenes.
It's maybe better than changing things. And then I can still dream that there's a deleted scene where they go to the cave and talk to Sirius.
We'll fill in the deleted scenes later. There's another scene that drives me crazy when Harry's meeting with Moody in his office. And the chest gets up and literally screams and shakes.
Yeah, that was annoying.
And Harry doesn't question it at all.
Yep, that's normal. Totally
Yeah.
cool. Nice.
I guess because he's like used to maybe weird, crazy things happening and it's magic. But that seems a little insane to me. That Moody just goes, or Crouch Jr. just goes, you wouldn't even believe it if I told you what was in there. Try me. Tell me what's in there.
Right. Right.
But then the other teachers don't see this.
Yeah. And it's literally
Like,
just
it's
like
just-
hanging out there. I know. Like anybody that walks into the office, if that happens with like McGonagall and she walks in, I feel like she would know what was going on or something at least. She'd be like, okay, who do you have just hiding in your chest? Let me open this. Let me see who it is.
Yeah.
And the whole plot gets uncovered. But so many weird loose ends. What do you think about the whole Harry and Hermione conversation before the first task?
Why was it so secretive?
Yeah.
She's like hiding behind the curtain.
Yeah.
But then she was in it in the next
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
And no one said anything to her.
I know,
like,
yeah.
get
She's
out.
like hanging on the tent.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Dumbledore goes, "Oh, what are you doing here, Miss Granger?" Which I actually thought was good. I was like,
that was playful.
a redeemable Dumbledore line.
And I also liked that there was a little more truth to the Rita story because it did come off like romantic.
Yeah.
So in that moment and the picture, I was like, okay, that actually makes more sense
Oh.
from Rita's perspective. Because in the book, we were like, she's just making things up. Like it was based on nothing, it seemed, except maybe Malfoy just saying something.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked that there was like a hint of truth to the story,
Yeah.
even if it was weird.
And then everything that happens in the first task, there's a few things that just drive me crazy in it. The fact that the dragon gets away and chases Harry around the entire property.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about
The fact that
Yeah.
the fact that Harry's so stupid he doesn't even know how to use his wand, and Hermione literally has to scream out, "Your wand, Harry! Use your wand!" He's literally in the middle of the first
that.
task.
Oh, yep.
Like that kind of stuff drives me crazy.
He's not that dumb.
I know exactly.
Mm.
Like,
Daniel Radcliffe might be, but
Oh my.
you guys, this is just
Another
a side
level
note question
tonight.
too. You guys, do you like Harry at this point in the books and in the movie? I mean, the movie and her books are pretty different, but do you like him as a person? Like, would he be your friend?
maybe not.
I mean, we talked about it. He's pretty arrogant. He's pretty like
And
annoying.
stubborn.
Yeah, he's really stubborn.
It's like, how many times am I going to tell you not to do that?
Yeah.
Or like, you shouldn't do that. Don't risk your life, Harry. Oh, and you just keep going doing it.
In the movies, they just
Mm.
they just put that, and then on top of it, they make it so he's really dumb. And they do the same thing with Ron. And Ron doesn't have the redeemable qualities of like being stubbornly good about something and righteous. He's just dumb in the movies. And Ron does things, I think, in his performance, like Rupert Grint does things in his performance that make it really, really good. There's one scene that I love
That's
of
his
him.
name.
Rupert Grint. One of my favorite scenes of him in this movie is in the first task when Harry's like about to grab it and misses it. They flash to Hermione and Ron, and you could see like agony in Ron's face, and like I think he like mouths "good job" when he gets away from something or something like that, where you're like, Ron is playing it so he knows he doesn't really want Harry to fail here, but he's just still angry and he's like just holding on to something. I think he does a great job playing that whole thing, but when the dragon gets away and just chases
Also,
Harry
that
around.
scene, the like arena that was holding the dragon was so
It
small.
was tiny, yeah.
I was not expecting it to be like that.
The dragon could have turned around
I
and
was
killed
thinking
any of
like
the
the
Anyone,
huge
yeah.
Quidditch, like.
I did think it was
Yeah.
cool, but it should
Yeah.
have been way bigger.
I know.
Well, it reminded me of the Coneheads, the scene at the end when he's trying. Did anyone see the
This is a reference that's beyond me.
Coneheads?
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
I remember it. I just
There's a
Like,
scene
I
at the
don't
end
know
where
if I've
he has
seen
to like battle this monster thing, and it literally looks the same
Really?
to me.
oh, that's
I
fun.
should pull it up and see
Yeah.
if I can find it.
I don't think I ever saw. I remember what they look like, but
The only good redeemable part of the dragon thing was when the twins go, "Yes, well done, dragon!" When he gets the teachers, the dragon's tail sweeps out all the teachers' rows, and the twins are going, "Yes, well done, dragon!" I love that line.
I
Yeah.
do find myself liking Harry.
Really?
I think he's a little arrogant. He definitely is. But I'm seeing some growth, and that's enough to give me the hope. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah.
Okay, this is gonna be a side note because a few days ago I was just thinking about the podcast and thinking about you guys reading for the first time, and I was thinking about what your guys' favorite books is gonna be, and I was thinking about what you guys were gonna rank them, and I have to say, for some of your comments, Danny, I think your favorite book might be the fifth one coming up, and then Jen, I think your favorite book is definitively going to be the sixth one.
Really?
Whoa.
I think you're gonna love the seventh one too.
There's a
but I
lot of
think the
female
sixth one-
empowerment in the sixth one. So.
The sixth one, I think you are going to love.
Hermione becomes a lawyer and
Yeah.
all the no, they're still in high school.
Neville dancing was great. I wrote that. I don't remember why. Was
yeah,
Neville?
no, that was cute. Yeah.
What was he
He
doing
was
though?
so good at dancing with the
Yeah, no, he
prom.
was practicing.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, that was it. I thought it was because in my notes I thought it was after the dragon thing. The prom stuff that was very cute. I like
It-
that.
those-
the
yeah.
ball, the Yule ball.
Yeah.
That was one thing they added on, which was great. Like, I
Yes.
think my favorite scene, again, I'm using hyperbole a lot. I have a lot of favorite scenes in this movie. But one of my favorites is the whole Maggie Smith dance scene with Ron. Like McGonagall, he goes, hold my waist, put your hand on my waist. And Ron goes, what? Like, the whole scene was so well
awesome.
done. I thought it wasn't in the books at all, but I thought
Yeah.
they nailed that. It was so funny. It like captured a lot of high school
Mhm.
angst and like weirdness.
But
And then
Neville was so good.
I know,
It
Neville
was so
dancing around.
cute.
like that was
And
his little
practicing in his
redeemable moment.
room, wearing his pajamas, but his shoes.
I know, I love it. Yeah. Yeah, what did you guys like the whole like the Yule Ball scene? What do you think they missed in that? How did you like it? There's just so many good lines in this, like McGonagall going, some well-mannered frivolity, and she goes, I will not have Gryffindors behaving like a babbling, bumbling band of buffoons or baboons. And she goes,
had some good ones.
I know. Inside every girl is a secret swan slumbering. Mr. Weasley, will you join me, please? Place your right hand on my waist. Oh, I love it. So good.
That was good.
How do you like the whole Yule Ball scene?
I think in the book I was filling in some of the details in my own head to make it make more sense or whatever. Watching it, it felt like Ron and Harry were just so lame.
Yeah.
Like something about it where I'm like, it just didn't quite make sense watching it. Like, just go dance, have some fun. Like, why did you even ask these girls to the thing if you're going to just sit there on the side and be the only one sitting there? And it didn't seem to make sense because I get it, especially if you're embarrassed about your dancing. Fine, don't dance. But would they really just be sitting there? Or would they be off doing some adventure or exploring the castle or like doing something else? It just felt kind of like, yeah, they just seemed lame. I was like, do something. Have some fun. But they weren't having fun.
They weren't. They were such deadbeats. They were terrible. They were so mean too in it. Like,
Why
even
did they change the color of Hermione's dress? I don't understand.
I mean, I think we talked. Did we talk about this? I think because it might have just fit better with Emma Watson. I feel like a fashion stylist came and was like, I don't think she would look good in blue. I think she would look good in pink.
Oh.
I think it was.
I think I said that, but I was joking.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it might be pretty
true.
legitimate. Because I don't know. I think maybe for book Hermione, blue fits better. But maybe for, I don't know. Maybe they had to make her stand out too or something like that. I'm not positive. But
I just also was like, she didn't
That's
drastically
true.
change. Like,
yeah.
I mean, she's pretty, I guess, as her Hermione self as a
Yeah.
student. So there wasn't much to upgrade. But Ron and them didn't recognize her
I know. Yeah.
in the book.
There is so there's two scenes that I want to talk about. There's one that I like and one that I just want to talk about because it's really controversial.
Oh boy.
The one scene that I really like is when Pavarti goes, "Oh, she looks beautiful," and Harry, looking at Cho, goes, "Yeah, she does," and then realizes that Pavarti's looking up the stairs and turns around and sees Hermione. I feel like that was a decent reveal for Hermione, even though like I feel like we have to recognize her in the movies. So I like that. And then there's another scene at the end of the Yule Ball where Hermione goes mom mode on them. And she goes, never mind, off to bed, both of you.
Yep.
How did you like that scene?
I liked it.
Really?
Yeah, well, just the dynamic of it just felt like funny. And it just felt like something we hadn't really seen. And just like something about it. I was laughing. Why, you guys don't like it?
There's a lot of controversy about that line of people hate it because it's like Hermione is going into mom mode. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. She kind of is like a little bit of a mom in some of the books.
I feel like I see people do that often enough, and it just kind of like, it happens. Sometimes you go into mom mode or dad mode where it's applicable.
But I think it would have been better if she was acting like in the book when she's like trying to play the peacekeeper without getting involved with like not being what the owl she said. Like if they
Mm.
played into the book more of her dynamic between Harry and Ron trying to get them to back together, and then they had that line,
Mm-hmm.
like I think it would have been better.
Yeah.
Oh, like she was already in mom
She was
mode
already
with
in
the
like,
fighting
yeah,
siblings.
like, you guys,
yeah.
I'm not gonna talk to him for
Mhm.
you. And then later on saying like, guys, go to bed or whatever. I
Yeah.
feel like that would have been more in line with the same character.
Yeah, I think so. People are even saying like it doesn't portray why Hermione was actually upset in this moment too, which I feel like it kind of nails. Like that's
Yep.
not really the reason why she's upset. And I mean, there's parts of it that I think are good, like her taking her shoes off at the end and just crying. Like maybe that's kind of accurate and true to life. But I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that scene.
I feel like it didn't even fit though, that scene where
Yeah.
she takes her shoes off and she's like, you should have asked me, or don't let me be your second
Yeah.
whatever choice. It didn't really, I don't know, I felt like misplaced to me. Maybe
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Yeah, and even just her anger at things like yelling at Ron, "You've ruined everything," and then Ron going, "Girls are scary when they're angry," or something like that. And then she gets real wild. Yeah, I had my notes. I wrote, "Ron is just a dick to Padma."
Yep.
Kind of like you're that little deadbeat. I liked the study hall scene when they ask out Angelina. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
He goes, "You want to go to ball? Me?"
that was pretty good.
I think it's really weird that Maxine was eating out of Hagrid's beard, eating stuff when they were like walking and talking. She picked something out and just
I don't remember.
that
I-
was disgusting.
I feel like I pictured that dynamic different in the book. So seeing it in the movie, I was like, this is
Yeah, I know.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. They really made you feel how the people felt in the books.
Yeah.
The books are so uncomfortable.
But she was just really tall in the movie.
She was huge in
In the books, I thought it was a little different.
They made Hagrid such a perv with dancing, and his hand just keeps going down to her butt.
I didn't recognize.
Why do you think I noticed that? Sharon?
I don't know, John. You tell me.
No library time for Hermione and Crumb.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
None of that.
Hmm.
There's no like build up to that. It's just her and Crumb are at the Yule Ball, and that's like it.
But then you also know that they're gonna go together too. If she keeps saying
Yeah,
it wasn't a secret
Mm.
it was in the book.
yeah. How do you like this line though, where she goes, Hagrid, Crumb's Victor is more of a physical being.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So weird.
I thought
was
that
like,
was so
ugh.
strange.
He's not, too. He's not a physical being at
yeah.
all. In the books, he's like a chatterbox. In the books, they're sitting at the Yule Ball and they're talking, and she can't like shut him up.
Yeah.
And Hermione loves it, but he's just so chatty and like such a lovable,
Where did that come
non-physical
from?
guy. I don't know. That line drives me crazy because it's not the character of Crumb at all.
But then it's like,
And what does
you're
it even
thinking other-
mean? It's just like, yeah,
No.
like such a weird thing to
They
say.
put
of,
like
like,
weird innuendos in there.
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah.
I didn't get it at all.
it felt like we were like missing a scene, or like there was like an inside
Maybe
joke
there
that we're
was a
supposed to be
scene.
part of, but
Yeah.
then I was like, what are we referencing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I feel like
just-
that's a floor comment, not like a Hermione comment. Not that they didn't even
Floor is
show
more of a
that.
physical being.
No, with her date. Remember, they're
Oh,
like
yeah,
caught
yeah.
in like the bushes
Oh,
or
nice.
something.
Yeah. That's so true.
What was his name? Charlie Davis?
Roger.
Roger Davies. He's more of a physical being. Can't keep his hands off her.
She
Um,
was Vila though, but we don't even know what that is.
This was maybe, I don't know if this is your favorite part of the book, but the whole trap step scene was just completely cut off of the movie.
Yeah.
That's where we figured everything out.
I know.
That felt like a big scene. Like in the
Oh.
book, that was like a
That's-
moment.
That's
Yeah.
just
Gone.
we solved everything with the trap.
Yeah, everything. We nailed it. Looking back is funny, but certainly changed our mindset. It was weird in the movie that Myrtle mentioned Polyjuice again. and maybe things like that happened in the book, but it was just subtle mixed in there. But in the movie, it just felt too bold, like to bring it up again. I'm like, ugh, we don't need more Polyjuice mentioning. Let it be chill. Let it be subtle. More subtle. And no Ollivander Wanchek
She
before the
was fun
task.
Yeah, I
actually
know.
in those scenes.
Who, Myrtle?
The bathroom scene, yeah. When he keeps like covering himself up and then she like floats in and then out of the
Yeah,
tub.
Yeah.
I love her like, ooh.
Yeah.
She was a perv.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird, but it
Brutal.
was definitely funny.
Yeah, for sure.
I know
but
the Ollivander.
yeah. How do you guys? Yeah, they skipped Ollivander. Yeah. How do you think? How do you like that? I don't know how to speak tonight.
Did we? That's okay.
Did you like or not like that they cut out all of Spew and
I
like
don't like
all the
it.
house elves?
It made sense to cut it out for the sake of a movie, I guess. But like, again, this is where I'm reading into the movie a little bit like more. Like, are we gonna get more house elves in the future? Because it feels like they're kind of like cutting them out altogether.
Yeah.
Like, is Dobby even going to be a repeat character? And in the books he is, but maybe that's a decision they made, and that now in future movies they're gonna be like, yeah, Dobby's not really much of a thing anymore. Like, we'll bring him in at the end for like a final like, yo, what's up? But he's not like playing his part, because it felt like that was a big thing to Hermione.
Yeah.
Like, Hermione had a couple of big moments, and that was her thing. Every time we see her, she's doing something with Spew. It kept coming up. I was a little disappointed. It made sense, but at least hint at it. Show someone wearing the buttons or whatever, like, so we can at least imagine it's happening off screen.
Why would you? Because they don't even introduce that. Like, there's no Winky, there's no Dobby again. So, like, what would be
I guess
the
you're
point
right.
of
The point would
having
just be
a
for us readers. We see
Oh.
someone wearing a Spew
Yeah.
button, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, nice. I know what
Yeah,
that
for
is."
sure. Even small little subtle hints like that.
Something.
true.
It would have been just like a little wink to us.
Yeah. Someone actually said something in chat where they said they remember J.K. Rowling saying she regretted putting Spew in the books,
Really?
which is interesting.
That's interesting. Maybe it led to more like
Yeah.
discussion, or people thought she was
Yeah.
referencing something in real life or getting political. Or
Yeah. But I feel
Yeah.
like if it's in the books, they have to mention it at least a little bit in the movies. Like, do something for us in the movies. Just like, again, one of those little winks to book fans, which is maybe why they should cut some scene. Oh, they actually did cut the scene, but give us something at least. Give us like Dobby and Winky walking in the background, or something like
Yep.
that.
Oh my word.
Wes is scaring himself with these little things over here. When they do the second task, when they're finally on the second task, I also hate, or I like one thing and I hate another thing. I love Fred and George casting their bets, them walking up as all these people are walking down, and they go, place your bets here. It's not in the books, but I feel like that's definitely something they would do.
You're
they
right.
gotta make their
You're
money somehow,
right.
because they're not making all this other sweet stuff in the books.
Oh, so
and they gotta
true.
make money some way.
Yeah, you're right. That is cool. And it made sense because we missed the whole betting at the beginning with Bagman and like that whole dynamic of betting and gambling. So it's cool to see that it was still in there. It's still part of wizarding culture to place bets on things.
Yeah. That was a good thing I like. I didn't like how much of a jerk Harry. I mean, I guess Harry is kind of a jerk in the books as well, to an extent, but I don't think he's that much of a jerk like the movies. Like in the movies, he's just nasty to Neville. Like, Neville gives him the only possible way.
Oh yeah,
And
that
then-
bugged me.
Yeah, he's like, they're on their way to the boats, and Harry goes, so you're positive this will let me breathe underwater for an hour? And Neville, being the nerdy herbology student that he is, goes, oh, there's some debate, freshwater versus saltwater. And Harry goes, oh, you're telling me this now? If I'm Neville in that moment, okay, like, give me the gillyweed back. Good
Yeah.
luck,
Right.
idiot.
You had no
Yeah.
plan
Yeah.
at all. So what do you want?
I know. Neville's portrayal in this just, I just want him to like slap Harry across the face in this moment. Like, dude, be a little kinder. Because in the books they're great. In the books they're fine. In the movies, I think Harry is just too much of a jerk.
Yeah.
You do a little drinking over there, Jen?
Trying to be quiet.
Oh, that's what happens when you wake up at 5.
How did you guys like the whole look of the second task? Like the Black Lake, the Mer people. Like,
It was decent.
yeah,
Yeah, the mermaids were a little like weirder than I thought.
a
Yeah.
little more ferocious.
I like it kind of makes sense, but I thought they were going to be different. But in
Yeah.
general, I thought it was okay.
You wanted pretty mermaids. Like
Vila
Ariel?
mermaids. Nice. Yeah, I want the Little Mermaid. That's what I want. I don't know. Also, it just felt weird. Like they can't see anything from up in the stands. Like, what are they
Yeah.
even doing there?
No one can watch any of the tasks, especially there. I mean, only in the books you can watch the first task. In the movies, you can't even watch the first task. What are you laughing at, Jen?
I was singing. And we
Being
missed
Little
it.
Mermaid for us.
Yeah.
You can't even watch the
Vocally
first task in the
trained.
movies
Yeah.
because they fly away and the dragon falls, and that's it. It's brutal.
And there was no score system in the movies. It was just like places,
Yeah.
which maybe is simpler. But I think the part that seems dumb is that the score and places didn't really have much of an impact.
Yeah.
In the end, I'm like, well, what are we doing here? Nobody's getting eliminated from previous tasks, so it all just felt a little silly. But
The thing, I think without the score system, you don't know if Harry is getting towards
yeah.
and well, maybe it doesn't matter.
But
'cause
the only
whoever
difference is
touched
like
the
a few
trophy
extra
first.
seconds, in the maze. That was the only difference. So all the other tasks are just to decide who goes into the maze 15 seconds earlier or whatever it was.
But the maze isn't even that crazy.
And yeah, true, because
It's
they
just
cut
wind
so
and
much out
bushes.
in the movies. Then look, it was cool, but it was like, this is the final task. Come on now.
It was not cool. I didn't.
You didn't think it was cool?
No.
I like that it felt like the maze was trying to also consume them. Like it was like a threat in itself. But
I liked the fact that it was huge, like very tall, because I didn't picture that in my mind.
nice, yeah.
I didn't picture it as massive. But not having all the creatures, I was looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
some of these creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So annoying.
And I guess even before that, like when Crouch died, he didn't go crazy, and that was strange. But I liked that he realized Moody was his son. That I think was like it made sense from a storytelling perspective, and then that would be like why he had to be killed, I guess.
Because we don't really get that from the book. We don't know. Like,
Yeah.
we-
Yeah.
I
He's
guess
just
we
dead.
kind of get like him saying, I need to talk
Yeah.
to Dumbledore. But we don't know that he knows
Mhm.
it's his son, right?
Right. Yeah.
In the
In the book.
the movie, he stares at him after he does his little lizard
Oh,
thing
yeah.
for a solid 20 seconds.
Yeah. I'm like, what?
You're like,
is
oh,
this?
okay, he clearly knows
Like,
here. And the next scene, he's dead. And you're like, oh, okay, we know what's going on.
Hmm.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe if you're,
But did you even know that it was her son? Like,
I
feel
think from
like
the
they
lizard, the tongue thing.
No,
in
I'm
the
saying like
movies.
in the movie, do we know that that is Crouch's son? Like, when are they together? That they
Yeah, they're together at the end of the second task. Harry's on his way up from the boats. And
I'm saying like
Like, how do we know that?
that Crouch is. What am I trying to say?
You're trying to say,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
how
yeah,
do we know that they're father and son?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we never saw them
Like, am I
as father and son
telling
because
Yeah.
we didn't get.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did we get the flashback by that point?
That's what
No,
I'm
that
trying
came
to
later.
see. Like,
The
was
pensieve, right?
when-
Yeah, that comes in the next scene.
Oh, there is a flashback. To
And
the
that's when
court
it all
case.
clicks
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
Okay,
viewer.
because I'm like, when was I don't remember this being introduced that they're
Yeah.
father son.
So the very next scene when the pensive happens, you like piece everything together before you should really piece everything together. Which just is like, come on, we don't need that. We don't need this little tongue thing. It would have been better just eliminate the tongue thing, and then it gets revealed at the very end that Moody is him, and it's like, oh, I would never have guessed this. This is
But
really
it's kind of
fascinating.
good though because it's like he's crazy,
I know.
and then it kind of reminded me of a snake. So I'm like, that's kind of fitting.
Yeah, that's kind of true. A little snake-ish qualities in there. But them leaving out the bulk of the trials and only having Karkaroff's trial in there is unforgivable to me.
It was worse than I thought. More torturous looking. The seat that they sat
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
I was
that's
not
true.
picturing it like
and
that.
like tightening the little like knives going into their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough, but they cut out. I mean, they had to cut out the Bagman one
Because he doesn't exist.
'cause he's not. Yeah, he doesn't exist in the movie universe.
Mm.
And then I guess they had to cut out the Crouch one, but there's that just like, it just drives me crazy why they actually cut that one out. There's just no point to it, no purpose.
It might have been better to have it in there though, because then you think you're not sure if he's good. Like, no, he was with Voldemort already.
Yeah. There was a funny line after this whole scene happened and Harry comes out of the pensive. Dumbledore's having a conversation with him. And Jen just goes, his face needs to stop talking about Dumbledore.
What was Dumbledore's face
I
doing?
think his face is just like expressionless, like his above the pensive, just like looking. Like, come
that's
on.
pretty great. Anyone could have done a better job than him, I feel like.
I know, yeah.
It didn't play with our emotions. I wish we felt bad for Crouch for a little bit because I think
know.
that was like showing the extent of his evilness that he could manipulate people like that. So we didn't really get that.
And why couldn't they have done the whole scene where he swapped with his mom? I don't know. That would have been.
They could have done a lot of really good
Did we even know
flashbacks
he
in
was in
this one.
Azkaban? I can't remember
Voldemort might have mentioned that at the beginning.
I don't
Maybe not. I don't
remember
remember.
that. I don't
No,
remember. I
maybe
don't think so.
it didn't come up.
So many.
Yeah, I don't mind that they got rid of that, but
Why?
I don't even mind that they got rid of the other trials as much and just condensed it. But the whole Longbottom thing, I feel like that should have come up as a topic,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't the trials themselves. Like, I feel like it should have been more focused on because we lost the Moody conversation with
Yep.
Neville too, and that whole debrief.
Yeah.
And then, did we even hear about them at all? Dumbledore didn't bring them up either.
Mm-mm. We just flat out don't know. about
Wow,
them
no
at all.
justice for
There's
the Longbottoms.
nothing. I know.
That's lame.
I know.
And I feel like that bonds Harry and Neville too.
Yep.
So again, it's just doing Neville a disservice. Like,
On Harry's side.
because
Yeah.
now we don't understand Neville, and like we still think of him as being just like clumsy a little bit. Like we like him, of course, but yeah, in the movies, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
We don't get the depth.
And then, so they have the third task now, and Dumbledore goes, "You'll find no beasts. People change in the maze." Which they don't really change in the maze at all. I mean, if you're Imperious, I guess you're going to change in the maze a little bit.
Wait, he said you'll find no beasts.
Yeah, he goes, "You'll find no beasts or what is his exact line?"
No blast-ended scroots, no sphinx,
Yeah, I know.
no spiders.
I know.
Like, what do you mean no beasts? That's the whole point of this maze.
I
It's
know.
full
Literally,
of beasts.
the maze is full of beasts.
Goodness.
When I told Brandon that, he was like, "What?"
I know. And they could have done it so cool. Put a
What?
sphinx in there, put a blast-ended screw, put a huge spider in there, put a Dementor or a Bogger in there. They
And
could
what a
have done so many cool
cliffhanger
things.
ending to that episode
I
of a TV
know.
series,
Oh
you
my
know? Like,
gosh.
the portkey just wisps them away.
That would have been
Would've
so
been legit.
good. If anybody wants to hire us who's watching, if any Netflix producers on our chat right now, you guys want to hire us?
Oh my gosh, that would be cool.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit, but the third scene, they kind of just, I feel like they missed a few. Like exactly what you said. When you're watching this with people who have just seen the movies, you're like, they missed this, they don't have this, they don't have this. Could have been so much better.
But they don't even realize what they're missing.
True. And it's hard to, like, think of it in that perspective. We just can't. We see all the missing pieces.
Yeah, I can't unsee it. It's hard.
I really wanted to meet Bill and Mrs. Weasley and the family
I
time.
know,
That would have
and
been a
have
nice
that
like change of pace
yeah.
before the third task. So then, like, when the task is beginning, I'm like, oh man, where are they at? In the task, I did like that Cedric disarmed Crumb. It felt like he was helping Harry, kind of jumping in. That was cool. But then he starts fighting Harry.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you doing this now? And it felt mean, not just competitive.
Cedric doing that.
Yeah, like something about the battle between Harry and Cedric at the
When
end
they were going for
like,
the
I
cup?
thought you said
Yeah.
Crumb.
You don't like that.
I don't think that I do. No. Or it felt just inconsistent. Like he disarms Crumb, Cedric disarms Crumb, and then Cedric and Harry are both running down that final thing, and they're like, I don't know. It felt like it went beyond competitiveness and to meanness, maybe.
Yeah, it did feel like that to me.
And it felt a little out of character to how I was picturing Cedric at that point. And they made up for it at the end, of course. Then he's like, no, let's grab it together. Cool. And I'm glad it wasn't such a long discussion. In the book, I feel like it was almost too long.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool that there was some urgency to it.
Yeah.
Like, we're here. What are we going to do? I don't know. This is crazy. Together. Boom. Cool.
Part of me likes that scene a little bit because it still shows that they're high school kids and they still want glory. Like, there's one of the moments when Harry, they like kind of, they see the cup, both of them. And Harry goes, yes. You can kind of tell that he actually really wants that. Like, in his head, in the book, he kind of is starting to think that he might be able to do this in the maze. Like, when he's halfway through a lot of the tasks, he's like, maybe I can actually do this. And he's like starting to let himself believe that. And I think that line actually encapsulates it decently well. There's a huge note in this that if there's a senior in high school and there's a freshman in high school and they're in a fight, the freshman has no chance. Like, one's a man, one's a boy. The senior is just gonna push him and he's gonna like literally obliterate him. He's gonna get the thing that he wants. So I feel like it's not realistic, but I don't mind the fighting scene so much. I don't know, but I do like the very end scene. I mean, it's obviously always better in the books when they're like having the discussion over who should touch it first, and they both have it and they are transported. But yeah. Now that they're in the graveyard, how do you like the graveyard scene? I mean, we talked about this a little bit, but how do you like the graveyard scene? Tummy's rumbling.
I think it was good too. I liked it to an extent.
Yeah. Because you mentioned too that it was like too short. You just wish it was longer.
Because I feel like they could have went into more detail with Voldemort. It was just very rushed with the Death Eaters and although that was pretty good. Like the masked Death Eaters.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting scene. But he didn't show any like did he call them out for not following? Yeah, he did, right?
Yeah.
For not following them. But I guess I just expected it to be a little more harsh in the movie.
Yeah.
He kind of just mentioned it. No one seemed like afraid of him.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That's a good point. He does have some kind of like gravitas and fear in the film, but he doesn't have like utter like manic insanity, I think, that he does in the books. Like in the books, people are just afraid of him and terrified of him all the time.
The demon baby though was good. That's pretty gross.
That was yeah. I feel like they kind of nailed that part.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people say there's not enough Death Eaters actually in the scene. Like they kind of wish there was more people, which is kind of true. I feel like there's only like 10 people there, and how is he going to conquer anybody with just an army of 10? You know?
Right.
So I feel like there should be more people like in his inner circle too. But I mean, I said this before, but I think Rafe Fiennes does really good with Voldemort. I feel like he brings a really important.
I wanted that scene to be
Voldemort.
longer.
Yeah.
Harry versus Voldemort.
Yeah.
It should have been longer. Like the fight, like the power struggle was very short with the
yeah, because everyone pops out of the wand,
wands.
and then his parents are just behind him and say one quick thing, and that's it.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, everything was really quick. In the books, it wasn't. It was a few pages.
It was a lot of pages, I thought.
Yeah.
It was like a whole chapter.
Yeah, it was a whole chapter. But that specific Priory and Katahdin, because it was like a large build up for that, and then it just happened. In the movies, it was like in the matter of a minute, and they're done.
Yeah, I didn't take any notes for that scene.
Because it happened so fast.
Did. I was watching every second of it. It was great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the scene. I thought it was really well done.
A lot of people on chat are saying the same thing. Like, this is the only scene that they don't have too many problems with. Like, Toodles says that. And there's, like, Becky's saying this, and I think this is a good thing. There's just some really great lines in the movies, or in the books, that they miss in the movies. So, like, that's the stuff that drives me crazy, because they're there. Like, get this, like, just don't change anything of the script. Just let them say exactly what it is, and then we'll pick and choose and cut, and then make a longer version later. It's all they got to do to make us happy and satisfied. It's all they had to do, and they botched it. I don't even think. Wait, I don't even think I can. There's a comment, Becky. I don't even think I can actually mention that yet because I don't think they know really anything about that until the next book.
Sneaky.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but this person, I don't think they really know who this person is yet. They kind of know in the books, but
someone who's come up in the books, but we don't really know.
Yeah, they're on a.
No spoiler.
Yeah, no spoilers. Okay,
All right.
moving on.
Although I like spoilers.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll get to it.
What?
There was a name that came up at the end of the book that came up at the beginning of the book. The tent guy came up at the end as part of the inner circle of the good guys because Dumbledore was like, yeah, go to do this. Mrs. Weasley, you talk to this person. He was kind of like giving his orders. And then the dude from the beginning of the book with the funny name that I can't remember.
like his name.
Yeah. He came up again. And I'm like, oh, yeah, nice. Because now again, I'm just projecting. Mundungus. And Mundungus. I was like, oh, that's so great. And I was looking forward to him as a character because I like good guys that aren't 100% good. So he's willing to have some insurance fraud during the World Cup and lie about whatever. So I'm like, cool. I'm glad we're going to get some good guys that are willing to do bad things. Like Moody kind of feels like he's in that vein.
Yeah.
Sirius is willing to run from the law. Like these guys, like, you know, the Han Solos of the world.
Yeah.
I want the rough around the edges good guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mundungus is going to be our guy, but I like his name. So,
how do you like the whole? Anything else about that one scene? How do you like the whole reveal of Moody being Barty Crouch Jr.?
I don't like that Harry put it together. I mean, I liked it in the movie. It was entertaining. Like, I never said graveyard. Like, that was like a cool moment. I just felt like Harry got too much credit for it. And in the book, Harry was it was a whirlwind. He didn't know what was going on. It was like, it felt like in the movie he was in too much control. He looked too victorious. But in the book, he was more vulnerable. Like, he didn't know what was happening. And then he was like afraid. Like, it just felt different. So, pros and cons.
That's
good and bad, I guess.
Dumbledore was not a good actor, so they can't have as many scenes with
They have to
him.
cut him out as much as they can. Like, we got something. Let's move
Harry,
on.
you figure it out.
Yeah.
I did say I liked Cedric's dad, Sorrow. He was good.
Take that, Jen.
Took it.
There's also no fierceness in Dumbledore in that scene, which is like crazy because he's just like blank in this. He's like nothing. Like when he comes in the scene, Harry's terrified of him, and there's no amount of terror in him at the scene. Like there's no fierceness. There's no like terror over Dumbledore becoming this insanely powerful wizard. No, and like aura around him.
I didn't like that he was so physical.
Yeah,
he was like physical with Crouch Jr. Using his hands to like. I'm like, this doesn't. He's Dumbledore. He doesn't need to lift a finger ever. Yes. Anything he needs to do, he can do with a spell, and that's how it should be. He walks in powerful, and then like with a few spells is the one controlling the room.
Yeah.
But being so physical, like running up and grabbing him, I'm just like, this feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Dumbledore.
Yeah. And they don't have the whole debrief with Dumbledore and Harry and Snape and McGonagall. They try to squeeze that in at the end with this little scene up in the dormitory, but it was terrible. Like, just
you have no idea what's going on in the next book.
Yep. There's no and it will just build, guys. It just gets terrible. Some things that they just miss.
Worse?
No, I think the movies actually do justice, but the failures and flaws of this movie and how they don't explain certain things build from the next ones. But
if you only watch the movies.
Yeah, but if you only watch the movies, you don't really know what the heck is going on. It's still.
I know, so, like, people love it.
People still love it. You don't know. It doesn't matter.
You don't know what the heck's going on, but it's fine.
But the book, especially the end of Goblet, you're so much information in the last like 3 chapters, and you don't really know what the heck is going on in the movies. You're like, why are they skipping the Dumbledore scene where he's talking to Snape? Why is like there no McGonagall scene in there? Why is there no calling of freaking Sirius back? The Dementor.
Sirius didn't come back, right?
Like none of that the majority of the end of the book is cut out, and I guess they have to
ran
wrap
out
things
of
up quick.
time,
Yeah.
I think.
One of my greatest qualms of this is that the culmination, like the peak of the book happens kind of where the peak of the movie happens, but after the peak of the book happens, there's still like, it's like a false peak. It's like
I know.
there's like 5 other things that happen that you're like, wait, we're still in the
I
midst
know.
of this.
Mm.
In the movie, that scene happens, you go back and then like there's
That's
no real
it.
gravity with the
Yeah.
scene of him and Moody. I'm like, okay, it's just like ending. We've just found out a little bit of information. That's it. And then Harry's just like, everything's gonna change. Yeah, I'm not gonna write you next summer. Stupid crap. I hate it,
Oh goodness.
guys. A few more things, and then we'll wrap up. I mentioned this, but Dumbledore's speech with Harry is awful. The one thing I thought was decent was the funeral scene. I mean, the book, it's perfect. I think it's great in the books, and they should have just stuck exactly with the script of what it was in the books. So it wasn't even that long in the books. Just stick with that. But I thought it was decent, at least somewhat decent in the movies.
Yeah.
Of like, remember Cedric.
Yeah.
And then, Dumbledore's final speech with Harry is awful. And then Kristen's line at the end of this movie, I feel like all the boys need a haircut, which is great.
Yeah.
My only input.
Yeah. And I will harp on this, just the terrible ending to this movie. I think it is such a bad ending. And that's maybe why it might be on my least favorite movie, because it's such a bad ending.
I love the funniness that so many people love the movie if they haven't read the books.
Yeah.
Which in a weird way to me feels like they did it really well. They chose the non-readers over the readers, which annoys me. But it's a sign that they were doing something right, I guess. That so many people love this the best. Like, they must have made some good creative choices, I guess. It's just a shame that they had to anger so many book people in the process.
I know.
There was no creature love. We didn't get to see anything. No blasted scroots, no unicorns, no sphinxes. Like, I wanted some close-ups on some cool new creatures, and we got none of that.
I got none of it.
And I feel like in the books, creatures are actually a kind of a big deal.
Huge
It's
part of
Hagrid's
this
whole
book.
job, and
Yeah.
it's like they come up a lot.
Yeah.
Even the horses, they go by minimal, and then they're gone.
I know, yeah.
I would have liked to see some more creatures.
Yeah. Yep. So, brainstorm with me, guys. This is the final question. What was the best and the worst part of this movie compared to the book? Like, what was the best book to movie change, and what was the worst book to movie change? I'll give you guys a second to think of this. If you have it, feel free to shout it out. And yeah, there's people in chat, like Katie and Calvin, that we're saying right now, a lot of movie watchers, it is their favorite movie, like we were just saying. But when you've read the books, it's just like, why do they leave out so much? This should have been 2 movies.
Yeah.
And all of them going forth should have been like 2 or 3 movies, each book. Or a TV series. But tell me, if you guys are thinking, what are you can even just do favorite and least favorite parts of the movie. Doesn't even necessarily have to be book to movie changes, but it kind of will be book to movie changes.
Well, I'll agree with your change with Amos Diggory.
Okay. Him being
I
like
loved that
a more sympathetic
addition.
character. I feel like they actually nailed that. Because in the books, you just hate him.
Yeah.
He's just like a
Didn't
jerk.
Like him. I really
he's-
didn't like him.
Yeah, because in the books, he's like, oh, Harry, you suck at Quidditch because, my son got there before you. And in the movies, he's charming. He's quite nice, actually. Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, and his addition after Cedric dies. Like I said, I was looking for that in the book.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, wait, that's not here.
yeah.
I really wanted that.
It was, that was such a great, might be, again, one of my favorite scenes. I know you think it's cheesy, Jen, but I love it. Sometimes I'm a
It could
sucker
have
for
been
cheesiness.
done really well.
I know for sure. Rewrite it. How would it have been done really well? Who do you think would have acted that really well?
Someone else.
What are your guys' favorites and least favorites? What do you guys have?
Well, with least favorites, it's hard to pick a scene, but I think it's the missing characters. It's more the missing things, not like something happened that I hated, but like Bertha Jorkins or the older Weasley brothers or even Mrs. Weasley being in it for more than like 10 seconds. Bagman, Percy, Winky, Dobby.
Yep, Bill,
all that stuff.
Charlie, Mrs. Weasley's barely in this movie.
Those things I think they just
John Krasinski.
what?
What's the guy?
John
I'll try.
Krasinski.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could've been pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah,
I love him.
in A Quiet
Yeah,
Place.
you're right.
I feel like he could have been
Because
good.
he's like, I liked the Neville dancing thing.
Yeah,
It's the only thing I can think of that I'm like, oh, that's cool. And with the extra scene of learning to dance, it feels like dancing was a big moment within the ball. But in the books, you don't really get that. Like, Harry
Yeah.
was nervous about it. But I actually like that the movie focused on it more. It became like a more important part of that, I don't know, couple of scenes.
yeah,
And it was cute. It was like getting to know Neville a little bit more too.
yeah.
Setting those high school vibes, the awkwardness. So I like those little things. There's probably something better, but I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
tough to think of it because there's so many flaws. There's so many like good things too. But there's so many flaws in this.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe my one of what I hate in this movie is not so much the missing characters, but the missing character qualities of some people. Like Harry is just different. Ron is just completely different. Hermione is even very different from book to movie. Dumbledore, we've talked about. Don't even get me started again on that one. That's brutal. There's so many of them that it just miss it, I think, completely. And I feel like a lot of that is part of the director's job and the writing of what the lines that they're given are. And then some of it just boils down to performance. Like Dumbledore, his lines might not be good, but at the same time, his performance is terrible. Ron does great with the performance of his lines, I think. And Voldemort, right? Ralph Fiennes, I think he does great with everything that he has. So I like, I think there's mischaracterizations of people in these that as my thing of I think the weakest part of this movie. But I think the best is kind of Amos Diggory. I think that's one of my favorite scenes. I love the dance scene at the end. I think there's like a, I mean, I guess I know why people love this movie. There's like a jolly kind of funness between some of the scenes that I really like. I think that might be one of my favorite parts. Like the dance scene, the asking people out. Like, I like that. What do you got, Jen?
I thought the portrayal of Mad-Eye Moody, like what he actually looks like, was really great because you got to, I got to see the Mad Eye moving around and like in the classrooms when he's like catching things, seeing things behind his back and like through things. I thought was pretty neat to like watch. Voldemort's scene when he comes out of the tub or whatever, I thought that was really good. But yeah, it's the same, like just having the missing details. I feel like that really bothers me, especially like background stories. Like I like to know why they're the way they are. So not having like the court cases or like Crouch's whole background story with like asking me. I don't know. Just I don't like that those things were missing.
Yeah, especially for you and your information centered reading. That's like the majority of the information in this book is all in those things, and they just miss it completely.
Yeah, so like I feel like I don't know. Like if they actually played the movie out like the book where it's a mystery, you would have no details to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they gave you everything up front.
Yeah.
The death, what the heck is it called? Dark Mark.
Yeah, Dark Mark.
That looked pretty neat.
Yeah,
also.
that looked pretty cool.
That was cool.
I thought they did really good with that.
Yeah, I liked that. And then I didn't like the whole Snape and Crocodile. Like you still don't know like why they're in the closet together.
Oh boy.
They were in the closet together.
There's
Nice.
there's a double meaning to what you're saying, Jen.
I know that. I'm trying to play like you guys are. What are you talking about? I don't know.
Tell me two more very quick questions. Sorry. What's been your favorite movie so far out of the 4?
The first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. I liked it because I just didn't.
It follows the book pretty well.
Yeah, in
And,
hindsight, it does. At the time, I didn't think it did,
Yeah.
but yeah, in comparison,
I mean, the acting and the effects
Yeah,
weren't that great,
yeah.
but I can't even remember the last movie though. Prisoner of Azkaban.
Azkaban.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
This might be my favorite movie though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like rewatch value, actually, maybe.
Yeah.
Now that I know like what it's missing and its shortcomings, there's a lot of like fun scenes in there, good suspense.
Yeah. As far as the
All the
rewatchability
trials,
of it.
yeah, all the trials are pretty legit.
Yeah.
There was one trial, and it was like half of the trial, and no.
That's fair. But the first one was
That's
just
your
so
opinion.
so new and magical. It's hard
Yeah.
to beat that too. They're all good. I don't know.
Kirsten, out of these 4, which one's your favorite?
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure.
Did you have a favorite before reading the books?
No, because I was talking to you about this. It's all one entity
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yep.
I have a very difficult time, even with the books, like separating them book by book or
Yeah.
movie by movie. I love Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've always said. Like, I just love them all.
Yeah.
And I would pull them out and I would literally go like a marathon,
Yeah.
either one day or like
I think it would be
have
hard
them on. But
to decide.
I don't know. I mean, like you guys said, I love the first one because it's introducing you and it's like, I don't know, they're so young and it's cute.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say.
I feel like for rewatchability, this movie is very good. And I mean, we trash them. I love the movie so much, even though it's so different from the books. The movies are just completely different parts. Like they're adding to the lore of the books, I guess. So I love them so much, but there's some shortcomings in this one. I think maybe the third one might be my favorite. Do you guys know the title of the next book? Last question. Promise you.
Yes, you said it at the end of the last podcast.
Okay.
I
I've been
said
thinking
it.
about it since.
Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. What is the Order of the Phoenix?
Well. I forget if I said it after the podcast or while we were recording, but my first thought, because we were talking about Fawkes and all that, was that it had to do with Priori Incantatem and the Order of the Feathers, and then the basic thought there is Harry had the order after Voldemort. He had the other feather. And then I'm thinking, are there more feathers? Is there more to this order? And how else will that play out in Power of Wands? And can you steal wands? And I just went down a rabbit trail of that. How far could you take the Order of the Phoenix? And has Fawkes given out other
like a good
feathers? But
No, you only gave 2.
it also could be like
we
the
know
Order
what
of
it
the
is.
Merlin, which is a different vein. That's I think it's the Merlin, right? Order of Merlin,
Order of
Order of
Merlin.
whatever, like a status. The Order of the Phoenix. Who's in the Order of the Phoenix?
Could Fawkes have given more than one feather? Or more than 2 feathers,
Right.
sorry.
So there can be lots of weird.
Is there one in Neville's wand? Is there one in Ron's wand?
Dumbledore is planting all of the Fawkes feathers so that all these kids can take on Voldemort. Not bad. But that would mean Ollivander would have to be like...
I mean, it would also mean Dumbledore's offering all these children
I
up
was
his
gonna
face.
say, why not
Yeah.
choose adults?
Yeah, it's so fair. But the wand chooses the wizard. So he could only start planting Fawkes feathers once he knew that Voldemort was bad. And that... Wow, but he knew Voldemort was bad for so long. I don't know.
Did he though?
In theory, I feel like Dumbledore would have known when he
When
first
he was in
came to
school?
Hogwarts. Well, because Dippet was headmaster when Voldemort was doing his thing, and when he went back and killed his dad, and
How do you remember this stuff?
and so, and Dumbledore was still fighting Grindelwald, 1945.
Yes,
So that's all happening there, and I imagine he didn't become headmaster till after that. We don't know when.
That's just
Maybe that's the whole reason he became the headmaster, so he could groom the people that he had to in order to take on Voldemort.
I love these. I love these theories.
Maybe
That would explain
Dumbledore
his
formed
terrible
the Order of
hiring
the
process.
Phoenix. Yeah, exactly. Jen, what do you think the Order of the Phoenix is?
I don't know. You took like all these
I'm
ideas.
just
I'm
excited
like,
about it.
I liked your first theory about the order of the feathers given out. The order of the phoenix.
Who are the younger kids that would get their wands after Harry and therefore be higher in their order? Ginny.
But would that be
The
higher
brothers.
or lesser? That's what I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I assumed more powerful because Fox was more mature when he gave the feather. Making that up,
He keeps
but
dying and rebirthing.
but he's always reborn from the ashes stronger than before.
An order.
But that'd be cool to see the the Creevy
is-
brothers, because if they both had
Colin
phoenix
and
feathers,
Dennis.
can you just imagine they're both like powerful
Yes.
wizards now? They're in the order of the phoenix
Or
with their
it could be
wands.
like an order. You know how like Fudge is like going against what Dumbledore is wanting to do with
Yeah.
gaining his crew to fight Voldemort, and then Fudge wants to ignore that Voldemort exists.
Yeah.
So maybe it could be like an order of that, like some kind of order of coming together, and maybe they call themselves the Phoenix.
Oh, like as a group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were saying like the Phoenix is giving an order. I'm like, how many ways can we
That'd be
say
cool.
order? Like usually the Phoenix is just there to receive orders. And actually no, they kind of run the sky
Yeah, you gotta guess how many.
and they cry pearls of healing juice sometimes. But every once in a while, once in a century, once in a lifetime, a Phoenix can give an order. And Fox gave his order.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Why? It's like
really
storytelling.
For me. Oh my gosh. There's Calvin in this thing said too. The Order of the Phoenix is a Big Mac with large fries. If there's any way to figure out what order means.
Yum.
A number
I
9.
want one now.
So wait, Jen, are you saying that like this order is just a group of people opposed to Fudge?
That's one of my thoughts, maybe. The Order of the Phoenix.
The order.
I mean, I feel like maybe Danny's more close, but then
No, that makes sense for sure. A group of people, the Order of the Phoenix. Yeah, maybe I think of orders in groups of people as being a bad thing, but it's probably like just movies I've watched.
Not like authority.
Yeah, so true. But I'm thinking of like the New World Order or the what's it in Star Wars? The
Yeah.
or it's
The
like
First Order.
Yeah, the First Order, and then like Fallen Order. Like usually, I just get weird vibes by orders.
But
But
that's what
Order
I'm
of the
saying, though.
Phoenix
We
sounds
don't know
very
what's
positive.
gonna happen. Like, what's gonna happen to Hogwarts now that Fudge and them don't, like Fudge
Right.
is against them. So, like, what does that mean for Dumbledore running the
Mhm.
school?
But yeah. So that's another interesting question. I keep asking you guys more questions because this is so fascinating. Do you think Fudge is gonna have more of an impact at Hogwarts or less of an impact at Hogwarts now? Is he the kind of guy that would back
He's
off?
gonna make it
or-
more difficult somehow.
I feel like he's gonna have more of an impact. I would think that my thought is they kicked Dumbledore out once already, and if Fudge is now against Dumbledore, they'll get the governors together and actually boot him for good, unless Dumbledore saw that coming and has already laid a foundation with the governors.
Yeah. I don't-
Well, however many, it was 10 or 12 of them or whatever. But if out of fear of Lucius Malfoy, the governors caved and booted Dumbledore, what are they going to do now? They're way more afraid of Voldemort. They're all going to like kick Dumbledore out. So if it comes to that and there's a choice, I feel like they would fire Dumbledore and then the ministry would take over running the school.
Yeah, but he's the only one that Voldemort fears, and people know that.
So as long as Dumbledore can get to the governors first, or maybe he swapped them all out in the meantime. How long is a term of governor in this?
Not really
You don't know governor legislation laws?
Oh, I don't know. What's going to happen? It's going to be intense. That much I know.
We'll find out next time on Harry Potter and the First
I
Time
feel like we
Readers.
also might have to have part of this discussion again as the
Yeah.
intro to the next
Yeah, yeah.
podcast.
I
Maybe our
gotta check
thoughts
out
will
the
change.
chapters. I'll look that up a little bit later and figure out what chapters. I think we'll hopefully do the first 5 because it's fun kind of when we do a larger chunk. But maybe we'll get through it. I don't know. But
And then record 4 episodes, 1 through
a
5.
whole entire Saturday recording. So I'll look through those to figure out when because I'll ask some of these questions when we intro it too. So let me look at the chapters.
But it's
I'll
also
let you
great
guys
to
know.
ask it now because
Yeah,
we
you
don't know anything.
Yeah.
Once we read chapter 1, 2, 3, who knows where we start getting
Yeah.
hints.
Yes.
I do like this.
It's the best, people.
It is
This
great.
is some of my favorite.
Or you
stuff
could even
right
just
now.
cut this and put it as the intro because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good call. Anyway, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the first time readers. Thanks for everyone watching online too. You guys were incredible.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
night.
Yeah, we had such a good contingent of people online. You guys were the best. Look at our chat, guys.
How many people were on it?
We had like 12 people to peak, 13 people to peak, and then we had probably like 8 people watching the entire time.
Wow.
That's kind of incredible.
Yeah.
Even with the time
It's
difference
starting-
too.
yeah.
I
Like
know we had people in France watching till 2:30 a.m.
yes.
Guys.
I want to know
Wow.
who they want to play Floor.
Ooh.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
thinking
they
of that
should
French
pick.
Bond girl
Yes.
because she was in Mission Impossible and stuff too. But like, there must be a bunch of really cool like French actresses
Okay.
that could have done it.
This is my celebrity crush, and who I think should play Floor.
Oh, nice. This is good.
She's
Ana
got
de
one.
Armas. She's Spanish,
Whoa.
but I think she would have done a really good Floor. I think she would have
Wow.
done such a good Floor. She would have been like just that age too. I
Yep.
think it would have been
Yep.
perfect.
Wait, what? Let me look her up.
Ana de Armas.
She
Was she in
She was in the Knives Out thing.
and Marilyn
Oh, yeah,
Monroe.
yeah,
Marilyn
yeah.
Monroe. She played Marilyn
And
Monroe.
I think she was a Bond girl in the most
Yeah.
recent
That's right. I
Bond.
didn't see that.
Yep.
I saw it Knives Out. That's what I
Oh,
saw her
yeah.
in.
I think she would have done so good. Anyway, guys. Katie, I just got the illustrated one too.
Oh, nice.
I
Wait,
threw-
did Katie just get it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I got the illustrated edition of Book 5 for
I never
Christmas.
saw this one.
Oh my goodness, there's the book 5 is out.
Book 5, yeah, Book 5 came out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
They're going slow.
Cannot wait. I posted something. I showed you. I posted something in our main
Yeah.
subreddit a while ago when I first got the book.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
by far the most popular post, and I posted in the main Harry Potter Reddit, and it got like it went off. It was like the most popular post for a whole day. Because
That's
people hadn't seen
amazing.
the illustrated versions yet, and when I threw that out, and
Whoa.
there was an illustrated version of one of the characters, people were like, "Oh my goodness, Katie, I feel like you know who I'm talking about." Right? Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us.
I wanna know.
I'm
You
gonna
will
end the
soon
stream.
enough.
You'll see
Eventually.
in a few chapters.
Soon enough.
All right, guys, have a great night. Thanks for joining
Bye,
us. You guys
guys.
are the best. Yes, it's 3:04 in New Zealand right now.
We have a New
Great
Zealand
way to
listener.
spend the afternoon.
Kiwi fans.
Have a
Woo.
good night, Toodles. Have a good night, Mike, Becky, Katie.
I want to know where everyone's from.
Calvin. I know, seriously, we should do that at the beginning of each
Oh,
one.
yeah. At the beginning
Yeah.
of the next one, maybe everyone
be
who's
fun.
on the chat posts
Yeah.
where they're from.
We had an England, we had a West Coast, we had France, we had New Zealand.
Oh my
That's what I know
gosh.
right now.
So
Literally.
diverse.
That's really
all
cool.
around the world.
Excellent.
All the time zones.
That's insane.
I know. You guys are the best. So thank you. I gotta end it.
Wow, that's good timing. Yep, 9:06.
Guys, nicely done. We powered through.
Yeah.